Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined by my two semi-grumpy co-hosts. To my right, it is the one, the only, Uncle Sam.
Hello.
Oh, Leon, they are fresh for the show today. And to my left, it is our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Pellisolo.
God bless.
What happened to Dan's comment? He deleted it already?
Deleted it, yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
What are the comments?
Well, he's
The people have spoken. We want Unk in a crop top Santa costume or we will revolt. Would you wear a crop top or no?
No.
Okay. And behind the computer, as always, polishing his own pickle, it's Bruce the Tugboat Venditti.
Howdy.
Bob wants to see your haircut.
I want to see the needle, and then we'll...
You with the needle jokes and Bob. Anyways, Uncle Sam, how was your weekend?
Great.
Any highlights, low points, pits,
No,
peaks?
just watch football.
Just a lot of football?
Yep.
Got an Aladdin in you?
Yep.
You working on it?
Working on it.
Steadily working on it. Zolo, how was your weekend?
Strong. I had to watch kids. I did watch the football when I left here on Friday. That game was great.
Great game.
Pac-12. Saturday, I didn't do anything all day except for watch football and watch kids. And then I watched Michigan do the damn thing. And then Sunday, same drill. Watched the selection show and then just watched the Lions and then Red Zone for the rest of the afternoon. So that was my weekend.
Did you watch kids on Sunday as well?
So it's funny you ask. The kids, the mother came home. She was out of town this weekend. The mother came home and took the kids to see Frozen on Ice or Frozen at the Opera House as a family. But they left me, the 1-year-old. They left me, the baby, who is actually the easiest one.
So you had to watch kid.
Yeah, one kid, a boy,
Oh,
and he did
did he
fine.
just sleep the whole time? In that?
No. He's insane. But I let him do whatever he wants, and then I fed him, and then he was tired, and I put him to bed at 7, and we were good to go.
Did you feed him straight from the tit?
No.
No.
I don't know if he's still doing titty juice.
Oh,
But no, I gave him some. I got a carry out from Sidecar last night. Gave him a
okay.
little bit of
How
chicken
was
tenders.
that? So I've been waiting. to try
Sidecar's
it.
good.
It is good.
Sidecar's good. Yeah, it's good. Like, first things first, we should go watch a game there. Number one. Number two, it's good late night food. You know, like it's always open and it's always doing carry out. It's got a broad menu. I have not tried the pizza yet, but I plan to.
Supposedly the pizza is pretty good.
I love Neapolitan's my go-to. So
Bruce, Dan says he wants to see Nosferatu. You're not going to give the people what they want today?
No.
Okay. Anyways, Bruce doesn't even want. Bruce begged for so long to get a camera on him so everybody could see him, and then now he doesn't want to show his face because we've called him out for the hairline.
Because the camera's dog shit. If the camera's better, then I will.
Listen to me. I will go buy you a Supreme camera just so that Bob and everybody can see
That's
your face
fine.
every day.
Once it's a good camera.
Bruce, how was your first week as a working man? Actually, he's been, what, 4 days so far?
Yeah, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 days. If you want to call it that. Do we have some disparity? Are you claiming that Bruce
No.
is worthless?
No,
Are you giving Bruce credit?
Can you tell Leon that?
it's hard to.
Give somebody credit after 4 days?
Well, it's hard.
Dave, who's
You work with Rigo,
Nosferatu?
you're putting overtime in.
Google Nosferatu.
Not easy.
It's a good Google. Okay. So,
1 minute you're doing a good job, then 5 seconds later you're doing
You
a bad
suck.
job.
you're
Yeah,
worthless
you
piece of
suck.
shit. Yeah. Okay. So we got a lot of football to get into today. We definitely have to talk about some college football as well because, as we all know, Michigan is in the college football playoff.
But that ain't the story.
I'm sure Uncle Sam will have thoughts on the Florida State Seminoles snub.
I mean,
Save it. We'll
Save
get there.
it. We're gonna get there. And obviously, there's one game that we can circle on the schedule that I'm sure Uncle Sam is going to have some thoughts about.
Is it Eagles-Niners?
It might just be the Eagles-Niners game.
Oh,
so
God.
we will get into that. But first,
We need
as always,
Omar for that.
what?
So we need Omar for that. Where's he at?
Yeah, we got to get Omar in the chat. I'm going to shoot him the link real quick so he gets in here. But first, as always, it's Monday. We're going to do some news. Okay. The news. out of the Lions-Saints game. Alvin Kamara, whilst being tackled on the sideline yesterday, hit a Saints cameraman on the sideline, and fractured the man's leg in two places.
Seen that.
It was a cameraman? I thought it was a lineman.
No.
Like a chain.
Chain gang.
Was it the chain gang guy?
Yeah, it was chain gang.
I read one thing that said a cameraman. So I
No,
went
he
with
was
that.
a chain gang guy.
Chain gang guy. His leg was like this.
Yeah,
That was
I had to
pretty
pause
fucked up.
that and actually call your Aunt Laura in the room, have her look at it.
See her look at it.
Yeah,
What was
it
that
was-
response?
Is she a
like?
nurse?
Fucking
Is Aunt Laura a
crooked.
nurse?
Huh?
Is she a nurse, Aunt Laura?
No, she was probably just grossed out by the fact that
No,
the
she
guy's
was
leg
in
was
the
in
kitchen.
6
I had to
different
call her in
directions.
here to look at it.
Yeah. So that was one of the highlights of the weekend in my eyes, watching that guy's leg split into two pieces. Piece of news today, actually for the Philadelphia Eagles, they have signed free agent linebacker Shaq Leonard. So no surprise there. The Eagles continue their streak of signing every single defensive guy who gets cut from every other team. Do you think he makes an impact there?
Somewhat.
They're
Eventually.
hurting. They're hurting that depth at linebacker. They have none right now, so they haven't got a choice.
Another linebacker name, which is a huge blast from the past, is working out for the Miami Dolphins tomorrow, and that is former 49ers first-round pick Reuben Foster. I know you were a huge fan of Reuben Foster when he played.
Reuben
So was I,
Foster had a
Uncle
lot of
Sam.
issues.
So was I, Uncle Sam.
I was a big fan of his. I thought he was a stud linebacker.
He really didn't have a lot of issues. He got a raw deal. I think he got Me Too'd and domestic violence, and it came out that it was all like it wasn't even true, and he was good.
No, but he had some off the field shit.
We pass on him.
I think the Lions did pass
Lions
on
passed
him.
on Reuben Foster.
No, that was his off the field stuff though. Was he
Well-
got in some trouble and it wasn't real trouble.
Well, he's only 29, so I mean,
He's
This
30
guy was
years old,
good in
man,
college.
linebacker.
This guy was really good in college. He was a madman at Alabama.
Yeah, but he had nothing left. He came back. He had some injuries, and then after that, I believe he was playing with the Redskins last, and he blew his shit up. And
yeah, he did. Last year
Yeah.
he worked out for the Dolphins and the Seahawks, but neither of them signed him.
what does that tell you? Pete
But-
Carroll ain't gonna sign you, or the best
Carroll's
days are
not-
behind you.
They took Jared Davis over him. That's who the Lions took
Yeah,
over him. And I
that's
just
what it
remember being extremely pissed off about that.
Jared Davis.
Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans came out today and told reporters that standout rookie receiver Tank Dell underwent season-ending surgery on a fractured ankle today. So that's big news for the Texans because he's been a very, very good young prospect for them so far this year.
Straw Boy, stand up.
Yeah. Nico Collins for the win, baby. Big different piece of news from the Philadelphia and 49ers game. So linebacker Dre Greenlaw was ejected from the game yesterday after what Kyle Shanahan called it, mashed the face, quote unquote, sort of mashed his fist towards his face, which I guess is a really cute way to say somebody threw a punch without saying they threw a punch, into Eagles head of security, Dom DeSandro.
Big Dom.
Big, or otherwise known as Big Dom. Big Dom did not lose his job today because there's pictures of Shaq Leonard and him walking through the airport together today after they signed him. So Dom DeSandro, Big Dom, is still employed, but there was an altercation in where head of security Dom, Big Dom, actually pushed Greenlaw away from the sideline, to which Greenlaw then extended his hand to mash the face of said Dom. Uncle Sam, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Hi, what do you want me to say?
Whose team are you on?
He got ejected. That guy had to leave the field,
Yeah.
which I don't even know why he's on the field. Well, he was on the sidelines.
He's head of
Big
security.
Dom is always on the sidelines.
All right, that's
Always.
stupid.
He's worked for the organization.
They got so many cops and fucking sheriffs and county.
It's Philly.
state, and you know,
It's Philly. Who needs it more than
fuck.
Philly?
What do you need a
So Big Dom,
big tub of shit for? What
Big
do you need
Dom
that?
has two roles. He's obviously the Eagles' head of security, but his other role is advisor to general manager Howie Roseman. He's been a part of the
advisor to what?
organization since Howie
Advisor to
Roseman's
what?
been there.
How to eat?
Yeah. Hold on. This is a Paisan podcast. We're four
Yeah, I get
Paisans
that.
up
I
here.
get that.
Big Dom had the bless you.
Listen, Big Dom.
Big Dom had the Italian flag.
Shouldn't be on the field.
I mean, that's his job. He's there to protect the team.
I want that fucking job.
So do I.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I want to be Big Dom.
should we petition for Uncle Sam to be the Lions'
Yeah,
Big Dom?
Big Sam.
Big Sam.
My old basketball.
Big
Fat
Sal.
Sal.
Big Sal.
my
Fucking
old basketball
round
coach was head
Sal.
of security at Ford Field until 2014 or something.
Cute.
So he still got ties.
Cute story. Yeah, we'll
been
get.
there.
You want to be head of security?
Listen to me. If Big Dom was cool, he would have just kneecapped him right there.
Just shot him. You got some on your lip.
That's what I would have done.
Saw a bit of sawdust.
I would have kneecapped him.
So if anybody paid attention to that Saints-Lions game
Yeah,
yesterday,
yeah. Go ahead.
what?
No, I thought we were talking about the Eagles.
We haven't. No,
We're still in
doing
news. We're
doing
still in the news
right
segment.
now. They kept swapping out Derek Carr for
Oh, God.
Taysom Hill and at quarterback, and every time Derek Carr ran on the field, Saints fans booed, and every time Taysom Hill ran out there, they cheered. Well, head coach Dennis Allen came out today and said that Derek Carr is now in the concussion protocol, and some people close to the team think that Carr sustained the injury during the game and wasn't removed from it and tested properly, so we could see things transpire there.
Like what?
Well, I mean, if you had a concussion, remember the new rules, you have a concussion mid-game and you don't do anything about it, there's big fines that come out and all the above. So that's something to watch. Titans defensive tackle Jeff.
I will say that play that he went out on was kind of horse shit. Not only we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it. Titans defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons is expected to miss maybe the rest of the regular season due to a knee injury, per Mike Vrabel. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett underwent ankle surgery this morning.
So he's done for the year.
Well, not for the year. They said at least 3 weeks. I don't know how you have surgery and make it back out there 3 weeks later, but
If they got to put Mitch Trubisky in there the next 3 weeks, good night.
but in a corresponding move, they signed free agent Trace McSorley to their practice squad.
Like I said, if they put fucking Mitch Trubisky in there the next 3 weeks, they'll be on the outside looking in.
Other than that, Mike Evans. We need to talk about Tampa Bay wide receiver Mike Evans. He's only the third receiver in history besides Jerry Rice and Randy Moss to have 10 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards receiving. So shout out to him because that's quite a feat to be up there with those names. Some New York quarterback news. Tyrod Taylor has been designated to return and will practice today. He did practice today. So, is that the end of Tommy DeVito? Have we officially seen the end of Tommy DeVito?
No.
Tyrod was running that offense pretty good.
Yeah, but the problem is he can't stay healthy. You blow on him and he's on IR.
It doesn't.
So-
They don't. That's not how a team's going to think, though. Well, first things first. I want to see more Tommy DeVito.
You're
Let's
going to
get
see
that out
more
of the way.
Tommy.
I want more Tommy
Let's
DeVito.
get that out of the way. I hope it's Tommy DeVito. But what Tyrod was doing with the lack of offensive line before he died was pretty good, and I'm sure that they're thinking that he can move the ball a lot better. That being said, I hope that we're getting more Tommy DeVito. I don't know if we're going to get more Tommy DeVito.
I really hope we
I
get
hope
more
we
Tommy
do.
DeVito. Commanders running back Brian Robinson has a hamstring injury. He's considered day-to-day. As is C.J. Stroud is going to be day-to-day going forward.
Stroud boy, stand up.
No, he was hurt.
I think he left the game for a couple plays.
He left the game for a few plays. He popped up
Came
on the,
back.
yeah, he popped up on the injury report this morning as day-to-day.
Davis Mills.
Puka Nacua, Amari Cooper are both day-to-day. And outside of that, Ramondre Stevenson suffered a high ankle sprain yesterday. He will have an MRI tomorrow morning. Other than that, I think that might be it. Two other quick tidbits. Matt LaFleur is now 16-0 as the Packers head coach in December after last night's big win, which we will discuss. The Carolina Panthers have officially been eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah. They played pretty well yesterday, actually.
They did. They did.
Oh, one more, and then I promise you we're done. Derrick Henry is in the concussion protocol. So he had a nice game yesterday, too. But
Yeah.
The both of the backs did. I had
Both.
Tajay Spears on my bench.
did you?
Yeah, he
Tajay
had 70
Spears.
yards rushing
Is-
in what? Fucking one quarter?
Yeah.
Tajay Spears is going to be the
Yeah.
start of the week there. Also, college news real quick. Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord has entered the transfer portal.
Might as well.
We broke them. We broke them.
Reigning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams will not play in the Holiday Bowl, Lincoln Riley announced today. So, other than that,
You're shaking your head. Tell us what you're thinking. If you have something to say,
You
say
don't
it.
want to know what I'm thinking.
Go ahead, say it. Say it.
Pussies.
I don't think you understand that people they
I
don't watch the
fucking
show.
understand
They don't
totally.
watch this show for him and I. They watch for you, and they're waiting to hear what you have to say. So if you're shaking your head and not saying what's on your mind, you're
you know
depriving
what?
these people.
I'm tired of these guys with their bullshit. And I get it. I remember the Jake Butt incident where he got blown out in a fucking bowl game and it basically ruined his career.
Ruined
I get
his
that. I get that. But you know what? You're a fucking reigning Heisman Trophy winner and you're too much of a pussy to play in your bowl game? Give me a break. Give me a break. That should tell you what kind of person he is right there to all you fucking GMs that want to spend $1 trillion on this guy. He's a fucking pussy.
You know who
Well,
did play in their bowl game last year?
Sorry?
You know who did play in their bowl game last year?
Who?
Bryce Young. In fact, all of the Bama
Yeah.
draft eligible guys last
Yeah.
year played in their game.
course
And
they
then
did.
I can't remember if Stroud played obviously Stroud played in the semifinal game. I can't remember if Stroud played in that Rose Bowl 2 years ago. I think he
He
did.
played against Georgia fucking the year he came out.
Of course.
So guess what?
No, 2 years ago though.
I don't believe that any of these guys that have an opportunity to go and play for a
Against Utah.
yeah. It's Stroud I think did play in that game.
Yeah, he threw for
Jackson's-
573 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Jackson Smith and Jigba played in that game and didn't have to, and he had like 250 yards and 3
You know, I
TDs. He
just
lit
don't
it up.
I don't like these guys skipping. Here's another thing I can give for you right now. Caleb Williams will not throw at the combine. I can tell you right now, it's not going to fucking happen. How much you want to bet?
So here's the thing. How do we know? First things first, I agree with you. This could be an indicator that he is going to leave school after the posturing that he's not going to leave school.
leaving.
He's probably leaving, and this could be it. But if I'm these guys, it depends on the position. But there's certain positions I feel like you should play in the bowl game. I understand guys that are at injury risk, but if you're a quarterback, you should play in the bowl game because it's
At least
just
play a half.
yeah,
or a
it's
quarter.
just good experience. I don't know about it's experience. It's you have a chance to pad your stats and showcase. If USC isn't playing anyone good, and I'm fairly certain they're not. They're in the Holiday Bowl maybe. They're playing in San Diego. But if you're playing someone good, why don't you go out and showcase? Or I'm sorry, excuse me. If you're playing someone bad in particular, why don't you go out in there and showcase and pad your stats a little bit and put on a little mixtape? So when these scouts see you, that for 2 months later, when the scouts see you and talk to you at the combine, they're thinking, "Well, you look pretty good back in January 1st when you were tearing it
Yeah,
up."
guess what? Yeah, you look real great that you didn't want to fucking play in the bowl game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what decision was that for?
I'm with you.
Yeah, I would be like, if I was a fucking GM, dude, I would look at that. It'd be a major red flag for me.
So you want to know what's interesting about this McCord story at Ohio State? I guess 25 players entered the transfer portal today for them.
Does that surprise you?
Well, and now the other story coming out is that Ryan Day is quote unquote courting possible NFL. Location.
Tell me the source real quick, because there's a Michigan guy that's like a staunch Michigan fan that's just been spreading rumors. Is it the guy that's got the New York Times in his bio? Tell me his name.
Let me take a peek.
I'll be able to tell you if it was him or not.
No, this is tyt.com.
No. This guy went to Michigan, and he's a huge, annoying ass Michigan fan.
Okay.
He's just spreading rumors. That being said, Michigan fucking broke him. Kyle McCord. Can we do this real quick? Can you give me 30 seconds?
Kyle
to do this real
McCord
quick?
is not a good quarterback.
Hold on.
Period.
Hold on.
He's not.
Hold on. Hold on. Kyle McCord was a 5-star recruit. He waited years to start at Ohio State. He threw to his high school teammate. Him and Marvin Harrison they graduated together. They went to the same high school together. Kyle McCord had, I can't remember, 24 TDs, 6 interceptions. He had 3,000 yards this year, and he only lost 1 game as a starter, and he's transferring. Michigan broke that program. Michigan literally fractured that program.
No,
because the
Michigan
only
didn't
other
break
way
the
around
program. Their coach is breaking the program.
Michigan broke their coach, which broke the program. Michigan's broken their coach. His 3 losses against Michigan have broken him because Kyle McCord is a hell of a football player, and he just has
I don't
one
think he's
loss.
that good. I personally think he's garbage. Okay.
That's fine. That's fine. I just gave you the stats. 3,000 yards, 24 TDs, 6 interceptions.
Listen, if you play in college these days, if you can't throw for 3,000 yards, you have no business being on the field. You have no business being on the field. Period. In this day and age, this brand of football that we all fucking see now, you can't throw 3,000 yards in college, you're a schlep. You're a schlep.
Can you give me the definition of schlep?
Schlep.
All right, let's recap.
Recap that fucking Saturday shit.
You want to do college?
Let's do
first?
let's do college
let's do
last.
college.
You want to do college first? I think college is going to derail us. I think
Let's just talk about right now. I mean,
let's do it.
I tried to watch the Michigan game. It was awful.
I think I said it was going to be awful, didn't
Yeah,
I?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we were spot on.
Listen,
Michigan won it
That was
5
not
minutes in
a-
when they kicked a field goal.
that was
Game was over.
that was horrible.
Yeah, you did say that Iowa would not score.
How could you put that in? How can
Zolo
you put that in
did call the
primetime
shutout on
television?
that
You know what I mean?
So the
You
game
have to.
My
I mean, you
God.
have to.
the game technically wasn't close, but people were complaining that Michigan wasn't covering and that the over wasn't going to hit. You don't understand that is what Iowa does. That is how they got to 10 wins. They lost their starting quarterback almost 2 months ago. They lost one of their best pass catchers. Both of them are Michigan transfers, by the way, and Cade McNamara and Eric All. They lost all those guys. And they haven't thrown a forward pass successfully in 6 weeks. And guess what? They still made the title game. And I guarantee you that if you ask NFL coaches to make a top 5, did I say this already? If you ask them to make a top 5 of coaches that they respect in college football, Kirk Ferentz is going to be on the list for every single coach because all he does is churn out pros. They just can't figure it out offensively. He had to fire his son, who's the offensive coordinator. He had to literally fire his son because that's how bad they are offensively. And that's what they do is they're waiting for you to make errors. And Michigan's not a team that's going to blink. The one time Michigan did blink was a muff punt, and Iowa finally got the ball in Michigan territory because of it, and then Michigan turned them over 2 plays later. So it just is what it is. That's how Iowa plays. If Iowa had an offense, they would be a perennial top 20 team every year.
Big Ten football for you.
They Big Ten. So yeah, that game sucked, but that's what I expected. And I wasn't expecting anything nice and pretty and shiny. I was expecting Michigan to try and stay healthy, and they got a few injuries. I know Drake Nugent went down. They held out Will Johnson, but that's what I was expecting there.
I think my favorite game of the weekend to watch was Oregon-Washington. That was
Alabama,
a fabulous football game.
Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Washington.
I
Those were both.
still think Washington was better. Alabama, Georgia was okay, but that got to the point where it was getting blatantly just ridiculous at some of the point. I don't know.
No, Oregon, Washington lived up. Both of those quarterbacks delivered
No, that's
perfectly.
the second game in a row that they had that was fucking right down to the wire.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And I thought, I agree with you. Both quarterbacks showed out that they're more than
I know
deserving.
he probably won't win it, but I think Michael Penix is the best.
You know, you always say that. But
I think Michael Penix made a good case.
I think he's the best quarterback in college football.
So listen, Michael Penix, I don't think you understand. The last couple games, he hasn't looked good. He made the big throws in that game, but you know who Michael Penix is? You know who my pro comparison is?
Geno Smith?
No.
Oh.
He's way better than Geno Smith. Way better. Who's a gunslinger that comes to mind that you could think of in the pros currently playing?
C.J. Stroud?
No, C.J. Stroud's
Is he hurt?
outstanding.
How long has he been in the league?
The guy's been in the league since 2009.
Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford. You have to take the bad with the good. with
I
Michael
don't.
Penix.
I actually think he's.
You had high praise for Matt Stafford this morning, so
What do you mean?
you had high praise for Matt Stafford this morning.
He can still throw the football.
Yeah, but do you
He's
think
not
that's a good-
accurate, but
Do
he
you
can
think
still throw the
Michael
football.
Penix
That's Michael
is a
Penix.
good comp?
I
for
think
Matt
Michael
Stafford?
Penix is better than Matt Stafford.
That's Michael Penix. Michael Penix, you have to take the bad with the good. He's
Yeah.
going to make some really bad throws. He's going to throw to
We've
the other
seen
team.
some in that game. He made some real bad decisions there in
But
the middle part of that
his
game.
dimes are as good as any.
Let me tell you, his deep ball,
Outstanding.
He puts touch on that reminds me of Russell Wilson. When he starts arcing them balls, it reminds me of Russell Wilson.
So here's the thing. You're going to disagree with this, and you're going to want to fight me, but I'm just going to get it out there. A lot of what he does is his receivers making yards after catch, too. That Rome Odunze, who's going to go in the top 15, he had an outstanding game. A lot of his receivers make him a lot of the time, especially in that game. But when Michael Penix gets one of those guys deep, there's no prettier ball in college football, in my opinion. This year, there's no prettier deep ball than Michael Penix. I think he's outstanding. And I'm excited. That's a great Washington and Texas is going to be a literal bloodbath.
I was going to ask, did anybody actually watch the Oklahoma State Texas game?
I did. I watched the whole thing.
You did.
It was the only relevant noon game.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Well, Texas they pretty much ended the game early.
That's what. Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but they're just humming. Texas is
Did you
humming.
watch Texas or no?
No.
They're just humming. Texas is
I
TCU
watched
from last year.
The games that matter, Georgia.
Okay, the Georgia-Alabama game.
That's what I watched.
What do you mean? The game Texas got into the playoff because that game mattered because they had a big win against a ranked opponent.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. A lot of people are angry right now because you have an undefeated team that's not going into the playoffs.
So yeah, Florida State beat Louisville for the
You
ACC championship.
Right. You knew this was going to happen the minute fucking Georgia lost.
Okay, do you agree with it happening? Who's your four? Who's your four teams?
Who's my four teams
Yeah.
that should be in it right now?
Yeah.
As of right now.
I bet you mine and yours will be the same.
I bet you we're going to be a little bit different. I would put Michigan at 1. Okay. Washington at 2.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. A lot of people have Texas at 3. I don't agree with that. I don't think they should be 3. I actually think that Florida State should be 3.
Oh no, I disagree with you.
Okay.
You and I are going to have the same one based on how
What?
you're talking right now. Go ahead.
What do you mean? And Alabama would be at 4.
You had Georgia in there over Florida
It should be
State,
Michigan, Washington, Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah. Those are the four
If
best
you want
teams
the
in college
best
football.
4 teams in the country,
Yeah.
that's the best 4 teams in the country.
I agree.
Which
Here's
is
the
why
problem with that. Florida State, they play in the ACC. I get it.
they play in the ACC and you don't have your starting quarterback. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Hold on. Was that what you were going to say?
What do you think is going to happen to them?
They're gonna get destroyed.
So here's the thing.
They were in.
There's two. First things first. If I were on that committee, I would have left Florida. I waver all the time. But yesterday morning, I'm like, there's no way Florida State should be in
Until
there.
they open up the playoffs the way it should be.
Next year.
Because I think he's right. As far as teams going in, it should be fucking Michigan, Alabama, Washington, Georgia.
Okay.
That's what it should be.
This is my big debate here. Is it the 4 most deserving teams or is it the 4 best teams?
Okay.
If it's the
Here's the
4 most
problem.
deserving teams, it should be Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Florida State. If you're talking about deserving, Michigan's an undefeated conference champion, Washington's undefeated conference champion, Texas is a conference champion that beat Alabama, which is the SEC conference champion, and Florida State's undefeated conference champion. If you're talking deserving, those are the 4. If you're talking the best 4 teams in college football, Georgia should replace Texas. That's why I'm iffy on the whole thing.
Yeah, but we don't know that because Texas beat Alabama.
There's two problems.
Alabama
and
beat Georgia.
they both that's exactly it.
Correct.
They both involve Alabama. The number one bit of criteria, the criteria that matters the most is the games. It's what they're going to prioritize over anything else. If there are common opponents, or more importantly, if there are head-to-head matchups, that bit
They've
of
gotta honor
information
the head-to-head match.
is prioritized. And it can't be understated. Like, I could see it both ways. Like, this is what I mean by a waiver. Like, Florida State, they got fucked. And they
got fucked.
And they kind of deserve to be there. And I heard 2 really good points. Number one was from, I can't remember who the first one was, but they said, What do you tell the Eagles 6 years ago after Carson Wentz got his shit blown out? What do you tell the Eagles that Carson Wentz tore his ACL and the Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl? What do you tell the Eagles? You leave them out of the playoffs? That's number one. And number two, Scott Loeffler, former Michigan quarterback, was on 97.1 this morning. He was talking to John Jansen and he was talking to Stoney. And Scott Loeffler coaches Bowling Green now. And he still has a relationship with the Michigan program. He was like, yeah, I talk to J.J. McCarthy all the time, regardless. He gave his take on it. He goes, that was a really bad deal because what happens if J.J. McCarthy gets injured this week in practice or next week in practice? Do you take Michigan out of the game? Does Michigan lose their spot?
Well, you know what? Actually, I watched this video and they brought up a good point. Hypothetically, let's say J.J. McCarthy tore his ACL in the Iowa game.
Yeah.
Would Michigan still be in the playoff?
It's a great question.
I think it's no questions asked they'd be in. No questions asked they would be in. Florida State got snubbed because they're in the ACC. It was the perfect storm.
Hold on. Their wins are better than any wins. I mean, obviously, Alabama probably is the biggest. Alabama usurped Michigan and has the biggest win in the country. Goes without saying, okay? But Florida State's record in their wins, their strength of schedule was better. They beat 2 SEC teams on the road, too. They beat LSU at the Superdome, and they beat Florida at Florida. They beat 2 SEC teams, so they have common opponents. They went through the ACC and blew all that out, too. Of course, they got punished for it, but they won the ACC and they were undefeated. Their resume was as good as any. Like, it's not about the ACC. It literally came down to Jordan Travis, or whatever his name is, JT Daniels. Excuse me, got my quarterback, right? Is JT Daniels?
No, it's Travis.
Jordan Travis. It literally came down to Jordan Travis, and rightfully so, because you know who you could thank for this? Is you could thank TCU last year. They pulled some shit against Michigan, and they won, and good for them, and they deserved to be in that championship game. But guess what happened in the championship game? They got their shit pushed in, and we had a very lackluster championship game that nobody wanted to watch. And at the end of the day, there's entertainment value that's attached to this.
Oh, Michigan, Alabama? Are you kidding?
There's no better. Listen, if there's any Michigan fan, I'm going to give you 2 reasons why Michigan fans have no reason to bitch about what happened. If there's any Michigan fan that's actually scared of Alabama, you should be. Alabama's good. You can be scared of them on paper, but if you don't want to play them, guess what? Last year, you got all excited because you got to play the worst team in the field in TCU. You got lucky and you got to play TCU, and they beat you. They fucking beat you, okay? So if you're not excited about playing Alabama Jan 1 in Pasadena, it's the culmination of everything. It's the culmination of everything Jim Harbaugh has been working towards since 2015 when he was hired. It's everything balled into one. Yeah, is Alabama the world beaters that they were 5 or 6 years ago? Probably not. But you still get a chance to play Nick Saban and the SEC champion, and you still get a chance to beat him in Pasadena, in one of your special places. There's nothing better than that, in my opinion. There's 100%. nothing better than that. And I'm so excited for that game.
I agree. They really need to. I'm glad that this 4-team thing is a thing of the past now, because now the 4 best teams and the 4 most deserving teams will all get in. And then you'll be able to figure this out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the argument shifts from there, though, is all it's going to happen. Is when you get to the 12, 13, 14, 15 teams, people are going to be like, well, who deserves that spot? So the argument's not going to be as prominent, but it's still going to be there about who gets in.
I think adding the team is the best thing they could do.
What'd you say?
Adding the teams.
Oh, 100%.
Like, 100%. Is there anybody...
No debate.
Even after they lost to Alabama, is there anybody that actually believes Georgia is not one of the 4 best teams in college?
No, I don't know. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how Georgia gets left out of this. No.
Like,
how you go? It's the first time it's happened.
They haven't lost a game in, 800 and some odd days?
They went wire to wire, number 1.
Yeah.
There's no way they're not. I still think Georgia's the best team in the country.
Right.
And they got left out. Mm-hmm. System's broken.
That's fucked up. Now, if we're talking about these games, we got a lot of time to talk about them. That Washington Texas matchup isn't all that sexy, but I think that's going to be a great game.
It could be. Hopefully it is.
No, that's going to be.
That's your team is Washington.
It's 2 teams that score a lot of points, and it's 2 teams that play 0 defense.
I don't know about that. I actually think that Washington's defense is a little underrated.
Do I need to pull out the total defense numbers?
Here we go. You gonna pull out the analytics on me, Mike?
It's not analytics. It's total defense.
Just what I see, and they went up against. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of people ain't talking about this. Oregon, I would put them against any of these teams.
Oregon had a very good case to be in this if they
Yeah.
won that game.
So
100%.
guess what? For Washington to beat them twice, tells you how good they are. Their defense was standing on their head against Oregon.
You know all Oregon had to
Want
do?
to know something?
You know what Oregon had to do to win, though? You know all they had to do to win? Stop the fucking run. Because they didn't play fucking defense all year. And that's why Oregon lost.
You want to know something? If Oregon wins that game, we're having a completely different conversation because then they're leaving both of them out,
No, I think Pac-12 winner was always in.
no matter what.
I think Pac-12 winner was always in because the Pac-12 was the deepest conference top to bottom this year. But again, the Pac-12 and the Big 12 are completely different because they're both loaded with quarterbacks. They're both fun to watch, high-flying, high-powered offenses in the Pac-12 and the Big 12, but neither conference plays defense.
Right.
They don't have the defense that the Big 10 or the SEC has or even the ACC. Even Florida State had an outstanding defense, which is another reason why it's crazy they got left out. But they don't play the defense, so therefore it gets a little tricky. And that's why I think that Texas and Washington matchup is perfect. It's going to be so entertaining.
All these teams in the Big Ten got to wake up next year because they're going to see an offensive barrage from these teams coming in that they're not used to seeing.
Oregon, I'm excited to
Throw
see.
the ball all over the field.
I'm excited to see Oregon and then USC obviously, but I'm excited to see Oregon's offense against, let's say, like an Iowa defense. I'm excited to see
anybody.
that. I'm excited to see that. Michigan's defense, of
I'll put
course.
50 on
Ohio State's defense.
So do you want to know what they came out with lines today on these upcoming games? Michigan opened
-2.
the Alabama game -2. It has since dropped to -1.5, but it's currently -1.5. Michigan's a favorite. And then in the Texas-Washington game, Texas is a 4.5 point favorite
Sounds about
That's
right.
Washington?
against Washington.
I'll take Washington all day long.
Uh,
I'll take Washington at 4.5 all day long.
over under in the Michigan-Bama game is 46.5. Over under in the Texas-Washington game, 64.5.
Oh,
and
my
I believe
God.
that is the highest of all of the bowl games.
Clear your schedules. Clear your schedules. Clear your schedules for both games.
And Michigan has the early game. So they're 5 o'clock
Oh, so the
from
other
the
one's
Rose
like-
Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
Sugar Bowl starts at 8:45 on New Year's Day.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Did you see any other bowl games that even enticed you?
Yeah, oh yeah, Ole Miss and Penn State. It's going to be a blast. Penn State plays crazy good defense, and Ole Miss has a crazy good offense. That should be really good.
How do you feel about the Oregon Liberty matchup?
Sorry?
Oregon plays Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl.
Liberty.
Do you know where
Number
Liberty
23,
is?
Liberty. They
You
went
know
13
Yeah, I
and
know
0.
who they are.
They went 13 and 0. They play a 13 and 0 Liberty team
Get
in
ready.
the Fiesta Bowl.
Ready for that. Get ready for the Fiesta.
Obviously, Georgia, Florida State would look good on paper if Florida State had a quarterback. But the hypotheticals apply to Georgia too. Brock Bowers could sit that game out. Hudson Card could sit there, or whatever. Not Hudson Card. The Georgia quarterback whose name's escaping.
Brock Bowers, if he comes out, is top 5 pick.
Well, he might sit out that bowl game, and he's
I
going to
think
come
he's a
out.
top 5 pick.
He's going to come out. He's going to be the highest drafted tight end.
Am I wrong on that or no?
Georgia's a 2-touchdown
It depends
favorite.
who picks, but he's going to be. He could be the best tight end at come out
I think
ever.
he'll be a top 5 pick.
Georgia's a 2-touchdown favorite going into that one against Florida State. Obviously, quarterback list. How do we feel about Ohio State and Mizzou?
At McCord. I mean, that affects everything. Who's your quarterback at Ohio State?
True.
I mean, he's decided not to even play the bowl game. He's
If you're
just out.
transferring, this is the early transfer window.
Oh.
If you're transferring this early window,
So
he's
who's
going to
Ryan
have.
Day putting in there a quarterback? Braxton Miller.
That's the thing.
Oh,
Braxton Miller.
That's
just
the thing.
Troy
asking.
Smith.
I don't know their quarterback
he's
depth.
got one more year of eligibility. He only played 6 years.
Troy Smith. All right, should we move on to want to move on to some NFL talk? Yeah? All right, Bruce, let's hit it. Weekly recap.
Thank you, Bob Carson. Beck.
What's it, Carson
That's
Beck?
Georgia's quarterback,
Carson Beck.
who also had a shot at the Heisman. There was a bunch of guys that had a shot at the Heisman this weekend that choked. Like Bo Nix, if he had that last drive against Washington and he had led it to a score,
He would've won the
He
Heisman.
would have won the Heisman. He
I
was the
agree.
betting favorite.
If he would have scored on that drive, he would have won the Heisman.
And Jalen, I don't know how Jalen Milroe's not going to have a shot at it. It's going to end up being Jaden Daniels. I don't know how, but there was a lot of things that had to go certain people's way, and it just didn't go certain people's way.
Penix should win it.
Where are the odds at right now?
Just Google Heisman odds.
Hold on, I got them right here. That's a day or two old. Hold on.
If Bo Nix is number 1, it's old. Because Bo Nix was the betting favorite going into the weekend.
Jaden Daniels is number 1 now. Bo Nix is 2. Michael Penix is 3.
Where's Milrow?
Milrow is 4th. Marvin Harrison Jr. is 5. Carson Beck 6. J.J. McCarthy 7. Blake Corum 8th. So.
No, neither one of them guys are the best player in the country.
Yeah, that's why they're 7th and 8th.
Right.
Amen. Moving on. So our first matchup is a
Divisional game.
the Indianapolis Colts headed to Nashville to play the Titans. Indianapolis comes out on top in this one, 31-28. Indy now 7-5 in second place in the AFC South. They're currently right in the mix in that AFC playoff picture. Tennessee falls to 4-8 and bottom of the AFC South. Some highlights from this game. Obviously, Derrick Henry, before he went out injured, 21 rushes, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It's 5 yards per carry. Tajay Spears in relief, 16 for 75. Oh, sorry. The Aladdin just choked me out. Gardner Minshew had himself a decent little game. 26 for 42, 312 yards and 2 touchdowns. Zach Moss, the running back that replaced Jonathan Taylor, that everybody thought would take this league by storm again. 19 for 51. That's not even 3 yards per carry. But Michael Pittman continued his pretty damn good season. 11 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Little Alec Pierce came in clutch for them as well. 3 receptions for 100 yards and a 55-yard touchdown reception in there. As far as receivers for the Titans go, DeAndre Hopkins had a decent little day. 5 for 75 and a touchdown for him. What did we think of this game? Because I'm not going to lie to you.
Actually, the Texans had control of it until the fourth quarter.
Titans, yeah.
It got away from them.
I thought that Will Levis had them in position to actually win this game a couple of times, and they just...
The block punts would just absolutely destroy them.
Yeah.
They had one, they had 2.
Actually, I thought Minshew played a decent game, especially for not being able to run the football. What?
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought that Tennessee did a pretty good job against him, to be honest with you.
You know, Tennessee's a really confusing one for me still, because if they had a quarterback there that was productive, we think they'd be a lot better than they are. But like I said, Will Levis hasn't been all that atrocious. I mean, has it been great? No.
Oh, because you know what? Once Henry went out, they lost their momentum. And that game just fell apart as special teams just fucking destroyed them. That block punt for the touchdown destroyed them.
Elizabeth, I owe you for Gardner Minshew. That was just a throw-in in that deal. And I used him.
Look better this week than he did last week.
100%.
Sarah had the same problem as Elizabeth, and now me, and now Sarah. She had Josh Allen, and Sarah was trying to trade for Brock Purdy. I'm like, no, just stick with Gardner Minshew because they're just hossing the ball around like crazy right now, and Jonathan Taylor isn't playing.
Yeah, and I mean, Zach Moss yesterday just couldn't get anything going.
I feel like offensively the Colts can just beat you. That's a stout Titans defense. And I know Simmons went out yesterday, but I feel like offensively the Colts can just beat you in so many ways right now. And I am very much looking forward to the future of both. That division's going to be really fun next year between Texans, Titans, Colts, and Jags. The Jags thought they had it made going into this year, and they've had to work for it. And going forward, that should be a really fun division to watch. This year just might not be the year, even though the Colts are in it, and even though the Texans are in it. This year isn't the year for that division.
So, yeah, there's a decent amount of offense in that game. But I want to move on to a game where... Oh, wow. Here comes Dark Lumen. Uncle Sam, I thought we bet if the Niners won, you would wear your Brock Purdy jersey. Here we go. Lumen in the chat.
Suck a dick.
Next up, in the one game that we thought could outscore the Patriots-Giants game from a week or so ago. The LA Chargers headed to Foxborough to play the Patriots.
What the fuck was that? My God.
I didn't see any of this game, and
I'm
I know that there was nothing to
Sam,
see.
how did you choose the
Huh?
Why were you the only one?
Okay, I did choose the Patriots in this game, but because I thought that the Chargers I know the Chargers are in a spiral right now, and I know New England's down really bad, but literally all New England had to do was muster one fucking touchdown to win this game. One fucking touchdown.
It almost did several times.
Almost fucking count
Almost
more
doesn't
to.
cut it.
Chargers come out on top in this one 6-0 in a game that was literally like watching paint dry and cheese grater masturbation all at the same time.
Again, in the early slate, I didn't have this on because I was watching the Lions. Is there anything? Is there anything to talk about?
Ramondre Stevenson got hurt. Bailey Zappi did not throw a pick or fumble the ball. Justin Herbert was average at best. Eckler could not do anything.
They were keying on him.
And that was it.
Belichick took him right out of the game.
That's what he does.
Devontae Parker had 64 yards receiving. I mean, that's
Goes to
pretty much
Devontae Parker.
the ghost of Devontae Parker.
Belichick couldn't score any points.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Eckler was 14 of 18. So that just shows you. Now, is the Patriots defense that good, or are the Chargers just this mismanaged right now?
It's just
I
classic.
think it's a combination.
I think it's a combination. Yeah, I think this is just classic Belichick game plan for what you do best, and realizing that the Chargers don't do a lot best at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful. Do we think New England wins another game this year?
No,
We think that's it.
No.
Do we care to hear their schedule, or do we know they're just not going to win another game?
yeah, we could do it.
Okay, hold on. If there's a game you think that New England wins here, so they're 2-10 right now, and I in my heart of hearts think Carolina picks up another win at some point, and New England could have the number 1 overall pick. But you guys tell me. Next week they're at they're at Pittsburgh on Thursday Night Football. Actually,
That's
Winnable.
going to be a very bad. I'm going to make plans.
TJ Watt misses the
It's
game.
next Thursday. I need to make plans for next Thursday.
T.J. Watt looks like he's going to play. He was limited today, but they might not. You might get Mitch Trubisky. We might have a Mitch Trubisky Bailey Zappi matchup
fucking
on
game.
Thursday Night Football. Then they play Kansas City. They're fucked. At Pittsburgh, at home against Kansas City, at Denver, at Buffalo, at home against the Jets.
They might be able to beat the Jets.
Maybe they'll beat the Jets.
I don't know. Not if Aaron Rodgers is there.
Yeah. What if Aaron Rodgers plays?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
What if Jesus H. Rodgers comes back from the dead?
He might beat the Jets just out of spite because
Yeah.
it's one of his last games and it's a divisional game.
Just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, I could see that even with Aaron Rodgers.
Speaking of the Jets, who we all know Uncle Sam is real high on as he patiently awaits Aaron Rodgers to rejoin Gang Green. The Jets did play a football game yesterday at home where the Atlanta Falcons, the current first place Atlanta Falcons, went to MetLife. The Atlanta Falcons that everybody's still asleep on. And they won an absolute barn burner 13-8.
Got lucky they won.
How you saying sleep on them when they only won by that much against a shitty team?
Yeah, listen,
It was called fucking sarcasm.
I'm not rescinding my fuck you from Friday
can't see you,
because
so
the Jets just lost that game. The Falcons.
Didn't hear the
on.
sarcasm in that.
Listen,
Come on,
okay?
I'll give it to you
We
when they
had-
win a good one.
We had the Jets. Trevor Seaman got some playing time. He was 5 for 13 for 66 yards.
Shout out to Northwestern.
And Big Tim Boyle, 14 for 25 for 48 yards and a pick. They both clocked in at 55 and 56 QBRs respectively. Whereas Superman Desmond Ridder just absolutely blew up the stat sheet in this one. 12 for 27 for 121 yards and a touchdown in this game.
I mean, super dog shit.
Bijan Robinson, 18 for 53.
Left with a concussion, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he did. And Nicole Pruitt had the lone touchdown in this game. He had the one reception for 20 yards. Brees Hall banged up in this game. He was 13 for 16 on the ground. That's 1.2 yards per carry. Dalvin Cook made it in there, 9 for 35 and a fumble. What if you're the Jets? Is it time to pack it in?
Did we talk about the latest in the news? with
Yeah,
Zach
they
Wilson?
think he's Zach Wilson news.
Yeah, there's Zach Wilson news.
I must have missed the Zach Wilson.
Google
So
Zach
like-
Wilson and I'll explain it. So the Jets want to go back to Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson told them no out of fear for injury. And Aaron Rodgers is currently behind the scenes encouraging Zach Wilson. Look up Diana Rossini from The Athletic. She's got all the intel on it.
The
But
Jets want to go back to Zach Wilson as their starter, but Wilson is reluctant to step back into the role, according to Diana Rossini. Wow.
yeah. When was the last time you heard something like that?
So he literally gave him the big fuck you.
I mean, I don't think Zach Wilson's that good, but he really never had a chance at success there, in my opinion.
Here we go. Zach Wilson made it clear to many members of the organization, players, staff, coaches, and upper management of his apprehension to start due to the perceived injury risk. The conversations with Aaron Rodgers came as a result of Wilson's shared sentiments with the other members of the team. Aaron Rodgers reached out in an effort to advise him to resume the starter role. Wilson remained apprehensive due to the risk.
You know, I had his back. I don't know.
Uncle Sam, I need your thoughts on this because that's right up your alley. The goddamn
I mean,
Jets.
what is Robert Saleh doing? What is
Amu
anybody
Bob?
gonna
Amu
hold
Bob's
Amu
really
Bob?
fucking it up over there.
This is the first
Accountable.
time. This is the first time you're right.
Yeah.
On when it comes to not you know what I mean with Robert Saleh. This is the first time I could see the locker room issues. Is right here.
That's why he's on the verge of losing his team. At some point.
Verge.
I mean,
I think you already
At
lost
some
it.
point, listen, the biggest mistake was this. Who should they have brought in when they knew Zach Wilson was going to be the guy for the year? They should have called Joe Flacco, put him in there. You wouldn't have had what's going on right now.
it's bad now.
That's a fucking
It's
issue.
bad.
Or offensive line help. That would help too.
Besides that, Flacco's a big, strong guy who can see over the line of scrimmage, unlike some of these guys that come out now. He's a big, stout quarterback that still can make the throws. He
So,
proved that yesterday.
are you still sticking on your Aaron Rodgers will be starting on Christmas?
I
train?
truly believe that. I truly believe he'll be the
So
starter.
hypothetically, let's say they don't win another game until Christmas.
Well, I mean, all this is going to do is get him a little bit rapport for next year.
Okay, but can we agree on this? With the current situation that they have between Trevor Seaman and Tim Boyle, are they going to beat
And
Houston
Zach Wilson.
and Zach Wilson, who doesn't want to play? Are they beating Houston this week?
No,
Are they beating Miami next week?
no.
Then we have them against Washington on Christmas Eve.
They might win that game.
Well, that's the game that they're saying Rodgers could be back for.
Okay.
Yeah, it's possible that they beat Washington.
So if you are them, are you going to put Aaron Rodgers out there?
Absolutely.
If you're a 4-win team,
I don't care. I'd put him out there just for his
I
reason
think
of
that
this.
is the dumbest, absolute
Hold on.
dumbest
Let me
fucking
finish.
thing
Let me
you could
finish.
ever do.
I know what you're gonna say.
Going up against a team that's not a legitimate threat.
Great. So what? So what, you can have 5
Team
wins?
with that defense is suspect,
So
especially now after they let all their guys go.
you're going to toss your $50 million quarterback out there 3
Why
months
not?
removed from
Might as well
Achilles
Why not?
surgery.
lose every
Just to
game.
say
Wanna
you
get
have
him out
5
there,
wins.
Man.
let him get his feet wet a little bit, let him run around, let him throw a few passes downfield,
Let him
maybe
tear his
score a
other
couple
Achilles.
touchdowns.
Like,
What? Listen, I still stand by that. If you're not used to physicality, you're gonna get fucking your ass handed to you.
what's the point of him going out there if they're not going to win anything? What's the
So
point of
I think-
getting used to the
Why don't,
physicality?
why
I
don't
think
you
the
ask
whole-
Aaron Rodgers, what's the point of him rehabbing right now?
I think there's just bigger picture. Exactly. I think there's just bigger picture things at play here, which is that he's got another year left, probably his last year, and he feels he was robbed, and he was really excited about this team with the hard knocks and all that. And it's about things are bad there. There's a bad culture. It's all bad. It's all bad.
So-
And he could reel it in. If he comes in, like maybe that brings a little light and sheds it towards next
Correct.
year. Go ahead.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Maybe
Yeah.
get these guys playing up to their potential, if not better.
Sick. So currently the Jets hold the 6th overall pick in the draft.
Ooh.
Okay?
Draft a quarterback.
Chicago's 4-8. Washington's 4-9. Arizona's 3-10. Hypothetically, let's say they don't win a game all year. That means Washington would have 5 wins and jump them. Okay?
Brock Bowers.
That means they would be realistically, even if Chicago lost out and Arizona lost out, which I think Arizona and Chicago play each other, so one of them can't. That means the worst pick they could have would be 4. Most likely they'd be picking at 3. Do you win a game? Because you're in Marvin Harrison Jr. territory at 3.
They don't need Marvin Harrison Jr. They need offensive line
You
help.
can get the best offensive lineman in the world. You could draft the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. You could do anything you want there. So is that one win over Washington that you're going to get and trotting Aaron Rodgers out there so he can have his, woo, look at me, look what I did. See, some people talk about how much of an egomaniac Tom Brady was, but when you have to work this hard at 40 years old to get back out there after you tear your Achilles just to prove that you can so everybody can taste the tip of your dick, that's an egomaniac in my opinion. And you should stay home, rest up, and come back next year so you make it deeper than 4 minutes into the season. Anyways. That's enough time on the 4-win Jets. Egomaniac. The Arizona Cardinals headed to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers, who were sitting pretty at 7-4, out and lit a little bit of a fire yesterday after Pittsburgh could not get anything going on offense. Granted, they did lose their starting quarterback in this game, but it was a very poor performance prior to that and after that, in my opinion. Mitch Trubisky came in relief. He was 11 for 17 for 117 yards and a touchdown. Kyler Murray, 13 for 23, 145 yards and a touchdown. James Conner had a big day, 25 attempts for 105 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. The Najee Harris-Jalen Warren split. Najee took the reps back, 16 rushes for 63 yards, while Warren only had 9 for 59.
Warren took a couple big shots in that game. It was not good.
Deontay Johnson had the lone touchdown reception for the Steelers. And Trey McBride, the tight end that's taking the league by storm right now, 8 for 89 and a touchdown out of him. Is this it? Are we going to start to see the slide? Is this the slide here for Pittsburgh?
You first. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, with Pickett not there, I would say yeah.
Yeah, but see, I don't think that fucking matters.
It's not the problem. Pickett's not the problem. If you couldn't muster more than, 10 points, 24 to 10? 24 to 10?
Points.
You couldn't muster 10 points on the Cardinals. No, it's not scheme or anything like that. That's Kenny Pickett, that's quarterback play. And
Both of them fucking blow
yeah,
dick.
Trubisky, obviously, we know Trubisky sucks. So I just don't think the Steelers are good offensively,
PJ
and
hear you say
they got to get really lucky to take you down. And they didn't get lucky yesterday. How many stoppages were there? 2 stoppages or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's 2 delays, rain delays in this game, lightning delays. But yeah, the Steelers are currently 30th in the league for total yards per game. I think the only 2 teams worse than them are Carolina, and I want to say it might have been
Carolina looked like they could beat them yesterday.
It might have been another, and I think it might have actually have
Agreed.
been Atlanta.
Carolina could have beaten
Here's the thing: we have that game on Thursday. One of these 2 teams, either New England or Pittsburgh, is going to pick up their last win of the year. Because Pittsburgh after that goes to Indy, at home against Cincy, at Seattle, and at Baltimore. I think it's a real possibility. Maybe the Cincinnati game. But I think there's a real possibility that the way that Pittsburgh looked yesterday, they could lose the rest of these games.
Just the way that, so Kenny Pickett's out how long? 2-3 weeks maybe?
They said a minimum of 3 weeks. It could be the year.
So just the way that everything's just cyclical in this league, and all the Steelers games have been so hard to predict because it's just based on how they prep the other opponent, how they prep to play the other opponent. I think they're going to get 1 or 2. I don't know if they're going to get in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think their defense is going to be good enough to get them 1 or 2 of these games, even with Trubisky. It's just all bad. Like, it's always been bad. They're like the Vikings last year. They just don't belong. And then conversely, the Cardinals have they gotten blown out at times? Of course. But they play hard every game. They're the Lions in 2021. They play hard for their coach. I'm looking out. The Cardinals are going to have pick 2. I'm looking out for what they can do in the future. I'm really looking forward to it. It's not going to be their year this year, but Kyler looks great coming off the ACL injury. That's the team that's probably going to get and probably going to need Marvin Harrison. I'm looking forward to what the Cardinals do in the future.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh took a very big step back in a lot of people's eyes yesterday. Huge one. Next up, the Miami Dolphins played the Washington Commanders up in the nation's capital. I'm pretty sure what I said 50-14 in this one, and I was pretty damn close. Final out of Washington, 45-15. Miami just looked really fucking good yesterday, and Washington looked really bad.
Pretty much it.
Brian Robinson went out with an injury in this game after 7 attempts rushing for 53 yards. Curtis Samuel led the team in receiving, 4 for 65. Sam Howell only completed 12 passes for 127 yards and an interception. Tua Tagovailoa, 18 for 24, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's a QBR 141, which was the highest on the weekend. Mike White got a couple of passing attempts in this game. Devon A. Chain, 17 for 73 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also had 3 for 30 through the air. Raheem Mostert took a back seat to him, 11 for 43, but he did get a touchdown of his own. Tyreek Hill, 5 for 157 and 2 touchdowns.
They went man coverage on him, and he thanked them after the game on Twitter for going man coverage. And that's Ron Rivera's defense. We talked about this on Friday, about how bad those corners are, and he decided to go man on Tyreek Hill. And the game was over in the first quarter because of it.
Awful. You have any thoughts on Washington? You have any thoughts on Ron Rivera?
I'm really disappointed in the way they've just packed
Fallen
it in.
apart. Yeah.
That's Ron Rivera. They need to just.
I'm kind of
They need to just
surprised.
tell him to stay home.
I'm kind of surprised that he's still employed.
Right.
today.
You're
I'm
right.
surprised they haven't, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ron. We know you battled cancer all year, but you know what? Maybe it's time to just stay home.
I think they're doing exactly that. They
God bless
respect
you,
the guy. They respect the 85 Bears element. They respect what he's done as a coach. They respect the cancer, and they're just sparing him from firing him midseason. I think that's all this is at that point. At this point, excuse me.
Next up, the Denver Broncos headed down to Houston to play the Texans. Denver was probably the hottest team in the league going into this one, but as we know, that Houston offense can just be extremely potent at times. Shockingly enough, though, it really wasn't the offense that did it for him yesterday. It was the Houston defense that came out in a big way, holding a very explosive Denver offense that has been hot as of late to 17, and Houston picks up the win 22-17. C.J. Stroud, 16 for 27, 274 yards and a touchdown.
Stroud boys, stand up. Stroud boys.
Dameon Pierce, 15 for 41 and a touchdown. You know what's funny? Dameon Pierce, week after week, averages 2 yards per carry, but then gets that touchdown in there somehow, and then it just makes it kind of okay.
So I'm an owner of Dameon Pierce. This was his first game back in a while, and he got usurped by Singletary. And he's always been Dameon Pierce was always good in goal, and they just got Stroud this year, and they had, they got Dalton Schultz, and they got Big Nico Collins, and they just had playmakers now, so they don't go to him as much anymore.
Russell Wilson, 15 for 26, 186 yards, a touchdown, 3 interceptions. So that asteroid came back down to earth real fucking fast. Javonte Williams, 13 for 46. Russell Wilson had 44 yards and a touchdown on the ground as well. Cortland Sutton led the team in receiving, 2 receptions for 77 yards. He did have a 45-yard touchdown reception. The biggest story out of this game, Nico Collins, 9 receptions, 191 yards, and a touchdown for him yesterday. I love watching the Houston Texans play football. I really do. Was I the only one who picked Houston in this game?
You were.
This Denver, I said it. The reason why I picked Houston was I just didn't think this Denver thing could last forever. And do I think that I'm ready to write off Denver like it's dog shit? No, because I think Denver will win more games this year and they will make a playoff push. But I'm glad that Houston was able to kind of plant their flag a little bit in this wild card picture, get a game up on them, stay competitive in the division. I'm glad because I really want to see this Houston team do something this year.
And this is the Texans' recipe as well. This is how they were getting it done. I remember earlier in the year when we were like, oh, this is good. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously Stroud's great, but what they were doing was being efficient. They weren't turning the ball over, And this is how they were getting it done, was with their defense. And I thought they got it done with their defense yesterday. It was a little less Stroudy and a little more D'Amico Ryans yesterday.
It was very D'Amico Ryans yesterday. How do you feel? D'Amico Ryans was your favorite coach going into this year. How do you feel?
Uh,
Did you like the
kids
defense
playing over
yesterday? Because we kind of bitched about the defense on Friday a little bit.
they really showed up this week.
They did. I thought that was a really nice
They
week.
stopped a hot quarterback.
The,
Yeah.
the,
A
pro-
good
the
hot
problem
quarterback.
is they need to start doing that consistently. They haven't been able to do that. But yesterday they were getting to the passer. They were creating turnovers. Stingley's back.
Stingley had an outstanding
had 3
play
interceptions
yesterday.
the last
Oh,
2
my
games.
God.
Oh,
He's so
Stingley.
good.
yeah.
He is
Stingley
so
looked
good.
yesterday.
So it'll always go. People are going to talk shit about this forever. Oh, Sauce Gardner's so good. Sauce Gardner plays in a great defense. Derek Stingley was an animal on that 2019 LSU team and had to cover the SEC's best. And he's been banged up and he got thrown into defense where he was the only centerpiece. Watch him thrive over the next couple years. He is a very
Gets
good
the
football
team
player.
back too, and that kind of helps them big time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cute. That's cute.
Yeah.
It is. Houston going forward, I really think that Houston's going to end up being a playoff team. They're at the Jets next week.
They should win.
And look at all the teams you got in there, though.
Well, hold on. This is
Jets,
where this
they
gets
got
cute.
The Jets, the Colts,
The Jets are not
or I'm sorry, the Jets. Yeah,
Well,
not the Jets.
the Jags.
The Jags.
I get that. So,
got
but
the
this
Jags,
is
Houston, and who was it? Are all in the same
Indianapolis.
division.
Indianapolis and Houston are tied right now,
Yeah.
at 7 and 5. But this is my point I'm going to make. Houston going forward is at the Jets, at Tennessee,
Win.
at home against Cleveland,
I'm gonna say win.
at home against Tennessee,
Win.
at Indy to finish the year.
I think they could win all 5 of those games.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so now, then, if you look at Indianapolis,
They're not going to win all 5.
no,
of
they'll
those
probably.
games.
I'd say they win 4 of those.
Listen, we all thought that Cleveland,
Indy-
Pittsburgh, and you got to watch it now because they all might take a nosedive.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
might take a
You might have
nosedive.
that
You
entire
can see
AFC North
3
nosedive.
teams.
One of the
All
Colts,
3 of those other teams get in.
One of the Colts or Texans are for sure getting in.
Well,
one
here-
of the South teams are getting in. It's not even up for debate. Just
Into the
based
wild
on,
card, yes.
Yeah, based on their record and based
Yeah.
on the schedule. One of those
Correct.
teams are getting in.
Indianapolis is at Cincinnati next week,
Win.
at home against Pittsburgh,
I'm going to say win right now, but they could easily lose that.
at Atlanta,
Win for me.
at home against the Raiders,
I'm going to say win, but they could lose that.
and then Houston. So that Houston, I was looking at the playoff machine today at work. That Houston Indy game to end the year could be an all the marbles game.
There's a scenario where they both get in, too. I'm
Yeah,
fairly certain.
there is.
They both have to get to 10, if my math is correct.
Well, yeah, and you have to have a couple of the
The North teams have to drop
North
out.
teams have to fall out. But one plays Pittsburgh and one plays Cleveland, so they could really help themselves out by both of them winning those games. Next up, we had a big
Divisional game.
Divisional game.
the Carolina Panthers headed to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. Carolina excused themselves from the playoffs after this one. Tampa Bay at 5-7 stayed semi-relevant. Tampa comes out on top in this one, 21-18. I could say this game was poop. This was a poop game. The only nice thing there's 2 nice things out of this game. Actually, 3. Both these teams actually ran the ball yesterday. Chuba Hubbard, 25 for 104 and 2 touchdowns.
On my bench, too.
Rashad White, 20 for 84 and a touchdown. Chris Godwin also had a rushing touchdown yesterday. Mike Evans, 7 for 162 and a touchdown for him. Just absolutely,
We got to get him out of there
he's got to get out of there.
for the twilight of his career. We got to get him out of there.
You want to know something? That thing when they were talking about him, Jerry Rice, and Randy Moss being the only receivers 10 years in a row with 1,000 yards receiving. Just think about how disgustingly consistent that is, and all of the names, the other big names that he's over. I truly think he's one of the most underappreciated talents.
Let's go the other way around. Who threw to Jerry Rice and Randy Moss?
That's and I was talking about this with Elizabeth last night. Think about the dumpster shit fucking quarterbacks. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield,
Hold on,
Josh
here.
Freeman.
Hold on here.
Josh Johnson.
I'm sorry, I have to interject on that.
Okay.
Because nobody went through that worse than Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, same.
Nobody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's on that list for sure.
My God, did he have a dumpster fire?
He did, especially the end of his career. I can't even tell you who the Cardinals.
Well, I mean,
Josh
he had Kurt
Rosen.
Warner for a while.
Okay,
Thank God.
can I
Carson Palmer,
hold on? Carson Palmer, and who was the other name you just said?
Kurt Warner.
Okay, Kurt Warner. This is worse. This is Mike Evans' quarterbacks, okay? Josh Freeman.
Boo.
Mike.
Wait a minute. Josh Freeman actually had
Oh,
a
Jesus
stent.
Christ.
No, because he had about 3 good years in the league.
They yanked him in his rookie season.
No.
Yes, in Mike Evans' rookie season, they yanked Josh Freeman. And then he was
Yeah,
replaced.
but he had good years before that.
That's great. We're talking about Mike Evans here.
Okay, go
He
ahead.
was replaced with Mike Glennon,
Oh
From
my.
Mike Leonard.
Oh my God.
Tried his long neck.
who then was replaced with Josh McCown,
Oh my God. No.
who then was replaced with Jameis Winston, who then
30, baby.
who then was replaced by Ryan Fitzpatrick, who then was replaced again by Jameis Winston,
Oh.
then Brady, and now Baker.
Fitzpatrick's not that bad.
Yeah, and he's 1,000 yards every year.
And he had 1,000 yards every year.
Can't really beat that.
You can, I mean, that's just seriously, truly one of the most underappreciated talents in my opinion.
He's always injured too, Mike Evans.
Yeah, so I don't
Always
know how he
banged
did
up.
it. Like every year he misses like 2 or 3 games and still does it. You have to figure we're only week 13 and he's already at 1,000 yards. So he's the consistency for him. Just truly, I think he's been extremely underappreciated. Have we all admitted down here that Tampa's dog shit?
Not me.
No, you're not going to admit that Tampa's dog shit.
I don't think they're that bad. They won that game yesterday pretty solid. They were solid.
Yeah, it was Carolina.
Doesn't matter. They were solid. Carolina. Hey, Carolina actually got a lot of players back. Jeremy Chin is back. They've been missing a lot of help on the defensive side
Is
of the
Bryce
ball.
Young dog shit?
Oh, okay.
No, I'm asking you.
No, I don't think he's dog shit at all.
No, I don't think he's dog shit. I think he'll be fine ultimately, and I think he had some good flashes yesterday, even though
Yeah.
there was an untimely pick at the end of the game.
Okay, my next question
See
is:
David Tepper walking in the suite, going like this after the pick. Did you see that?
No.
3 minutes ago.
Is he flailing?
Pretty much. He ascended the stairs of the suite. He behaves like a child.
I understand.
Is Baker Mayfield?
I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to shake things up. I get that, dude. I get that. I get what he's trying to do.
Do you think Baker Mayfield is dog shit?
No, I don't.
Do you think Baker Mayfield will be the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year?
Next year?
Yeah.
No. But I don't think he's dog shit.
I think he's.
I don't know how long he's under contract for.
1 year.
I don't know.
There's too many good quarterbacks for them to not go after a quarterback. There's too many good quarterbacks in this draft. Go get one and stash him. Go get one in the second.
I
round,
just
stash
want.
him.
I hope.
Maybe you still got to hold on to Baker at that point.
No, Baker Mayfield is like old Yeller. Somebody needs to take him behind the barn and fucking shoot him already. I'm so tired of it.
Desmond Ritter.
Listen to me, Desmond.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Guess what?
Desmond
Who's gonna win the division? Is it Derek Carr? No, he's dead. Is it Baker Mayfield? No, he's fucking ass cheeks.
Yeah, but
Carolina's
that's still up for
eliminated.
debate. What do you
Desmond Ritter is gonna win the fucking
It's
division.
still up for debate. They both won yesterday.
Who?
Atlanta won and Tampa won.
Yeah, but
Right.
Atlanta's a game ahead.
Let's talk on Friday after the playoff machine.
Okay, whatever. Atlanta is going to win the division. Anyways, Cleveland headed to Los Angeles to play the Rams, and my God. Cleveland gets shellacked 36-19. Matt Stafford did have himself a nice little day, didn't he? 22 for 37, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. Kieran Williams, 21 for 88 and a touchdown on the ground. He also had 24 receiving yards. Puka Nacua had 2 rushes in this one, 2 for 34, and then 4 receptions for 105 yards and a
He
touchdown.
had about a 60-yard run for a touchdown called back on a holding call.
Demarcus Robinson, 4 for 55 and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, who left this one banged up, he is in concussion protocol. 6 for 39 and a touchdown. Joe Flacco, baby, in his first start of the season, 23 for 44, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Kareem Hunt, 12 rushes for 48 yards. Definitely a little pass heavy here for Cleveland yesterday. Elijah Moore led the team in receiving yards, 4 for 83. Harrison Bryant had a touchdown reception, as did Jerome Ford.
And actually, what's his name dropped at least 2 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Joku.
Well, your self-proclaimed best receiver in the league was 3 for 34. David Njoku, 2 for 17.
Credit to
Dropped
Uncle
a
Sam.
touchdown, and one got called back on a holding call.
Credit to Uncle Sam. You and I think I don't know about. I won't speak for you, but I was very low on Joe Flacco, and you were right. He looked. Okay.
I was low on Joe Flacco.
He made some big throws yesterday.
Oh yeah, against a good defense.
Well, okay.
No, not like he wasn't under pressure either. You had to get out of the way of Aaron Donald at least 3 or 4 times.
Can we discuss Cleveland's defense now a little bit? Because everybody down here, including myself, is very high on Cleveland's defense, and a banged-up Rams team just walked in and dropped 36 on them.
A lot of the damage came at the end in the fourth quarter. The game was
LA did score 16 in the fourth quarter.
The game was a lot closer than that score. And also, I just think that they're banged up as all hell right now. Myles Garrett clearly is in trouble. And I think that's where a lot of that came in. But yeah, the Cleveland defense it looks human. If Myles Garrett isn't 100%, it's 100% human.
Well, with 7 minutes left in the game, Cleveland scored a touchdown and then missed the PAT to tie it up. So, yeah. Textbook Brown shit, to be honest. It's textbook Brown shit.
No pun intended.
Next up, Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs headed up to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers. And in a game that I didn't. Does the road to the Super Bowl still head through Kansas City?
No.
I think so.
No, absolutely fucking not. I think Kansas City right now is in a really bad place, and it's not that normal Chiefs where they drop a game or two that they shouldn't drought. I think that if you're Kansas City right now, you need to start sounding the alarm, because it's not like it's 2 weeks of the same issue. Consistently, week in and week out, they have the exact same issues. Just pass catchers dropping passes, poor receiver play, and Patrick Mahomes, in all reality, didn't look good last night. The Packers could.
The throw to, man.
Yeah, but if you're the best
you want to take his dick out of your mouth, Bruce?
Tom Brady had no one to throw to for years and
yeah.
still figured it out. And I don't think Tom Brady is nearly as talented as Patrick Mahomes. So
What do you mean he had nobody?
The Packers come out on top 27-19. Jordan Love, 25 for 36, 267 yards and 3 touchdowns. As far as the ground game goes, A.J. Dillon, 18 for 73. Romeo Doubs had a nice game, 4 for 72. Christian Watson with a 2-touchdown performance, 7 for 71. As far as the Chiefs go, Mahomes was 21 for 33, 210 yards, a pick and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, 18 for 110 and a touchdown on the ground. Travis Kelce, 4 for 81 through the air, and Noah Gray had the lone touchdown reception on a 2-yard pass on his only target of
Noah Gray.
the game. He's Kelsey's backup, the backup tight end, other big white guy.
The story's it's Jordan Love right now.
Okay, so we're all on the same page that Jordan Love has actually looked really good the last 2 weeks, and
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Is Green Bay for real?
Yeah, I think they could be solved, but I think they're totally a threat. I'll get in when we talk Lions. I'll get into the division clinching scenarios, but I think they're you talk about schedules. Do their schedule right now. It's one of the most cake schedules in the league at the moment. They could literally go 5-0.
Green Bay going forward.
At the Giants
at
Monday
the
night.
Giants Monday night, at home against Tampa, at Carolina, at Minnesota, at home against Chicago.
Yeah, I mean that's operating under that assumption. They're going to go 5-0. Now, of course they're probably going to drop one in there. The statistics tell us
Correct.
they're going to drop one. I don't know which one it is, but hypothetically they should go 5-0.
Well, I think the other story here now is Kansas City's 8-4. They play Buffalo this week. And right now I'm taking Buffalo in that game after what we saw yesterday. At New England, at home against Vegas, at home against Cincy, at the Chargers. I don't think they're in a situation where like they're going to, fall apart and lose 4 or 5, but I'm sorry, Kansas City has done nothing all year to impress me, and they definitely didn't impress me yesterday.
It's going to be fun to see them travel in the playoffs. If they pull out that first game, like they're going to have to move now. It's no more we're staying at Arrowhead
all the way through.
You're going to have to either go to Miami, you're going to have to go to Baltimore, wherever. You're going to have to go somewhere at this point, and you better be on your best behavior if you expect to beat one of those teams. That's my opinion.
Do you have any input here, or are you doing stuff that's important?
I'm listening to you guys. Why?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, what do you want me to say?
I'd like to get your thoughts on Kansas City's debacle or Green Bay's rise. Like something.
I'm not worried about Kansas City. You can't count them out.
I'm not counting them out.
Don't ever count them out. Do I think the road's still going through there? Yes, I do.
Yeah, but how could you say they have not played one
I'm
complete
sorry,
game
I
all
just
year?
do. I feel that the road will go through them.
I don't even know if they can get the 1 seed at this point. Well, they can get it hypothetically.
Oh, they can
but-
get it.
They can get it, but they have to hope all these other outcomes happen to get it. And that's something that they didn't have to deal with in the past.
True.
Ever.
Like now they need
I'm
help.
sorry. What's the record again?
8-4.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, but that's dog
If
shit.
they play, they
What are
just
we
lost.
talking
They
about
just
here?
lost to what I think. Even if they're hot, even if Jordan Love is good, their defense should have been good enough to stop them yesterday.
Well, their defense is still missing pieces.
No, you can't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's what you're going to tell me about the Lions. So
No, I'm not going to make any excuses
yeah,
for
you
the
are.
Lions.
You're going to give me that their offensive line is hurt, and it's the same scenario.
No, it's not.
Nick Bolton did not play.
But how do you? Nick Bolton hasn't played all year.
Nick Bolton is the
It's-
leader of that defense.
It's still your boy is Patty Mahomes. It doesn't matter. Nick Bolton's not the leader of the defense. It's Chris Jones. And you got shredded by Jordan Love yesterday.
Yeah.
The only reason the
So did the
Lions got
Lions.
shredded, the Lions only got
Here we
shredded by
go.
Jordan Love because they turned the ball over 3 times.
Okay, so what do we want to do first? Do we want to do the debacle in Philadelphia or the debacle in New Orleans?
I'm gonna have fun with Philadelphia.
Okay.
Let's do Philly.
Let's do Philly,
Yeah.
and we'll do the Lions, and then I'll get into the division clinching scenario afterwards, so we can see how much of a threat the Packers are.
Beautiful. In the most disappointing game of the weekend, the San Francisco 49ers headed to the city of Brotherly Shove to play Jalen My Butthole Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. San Francisco absolutely demolishes Philadelphia in their home stadium, made their defense look like an absolute fucking JV team. San Francisco comes out on top, puts their stamp on the entire NFC, 42-19. And before we even get into this, I would like to hear what excuse Uncle Sam is going to make for the complete fall apart and complete debacle that was the Philadelphia Eagles
Where's
yesterday.
Omar? We need Omar.
What do you want me to say?
I want
What do
you
me say?
to...
It was a pretty close game all the way up to about
Oh,
the fourth quarter.
42-19.
No, it
No,
wasn't.
no,
wait a
no.
minute.
San
It started-
Francisco
it started
scored
to get
4.
away
It was
from them in
21
the
to 6
second
in the
half.
second quarter.
Sorry?
It was 21-6 in the second quarter.
San Francisco made this very easy. They scored 2 touchdowns per quarter.
The first touchdown they scored wasn't a touchdown because the
Oh, here
ball-
we go. Here come the
ball hit
excuse.
the
Here
fucking
we go.
ground. I mean, that's obvious.
We can counter that by saying the Eagles they had 2 scoring drives and they settled for field goals.
Correct. That absolutely destroyed the momentum that they were having because they came out, they dominated the entire first quarter.
But can you give credit to the Niners D for holding them to the 2 field
I'll
goals?
give Niners D credit. Yeah.
No, he can't. He can't.
Anything, I just said that.
He gave him. I think that was real. I think he.
That was not real credit.
No,
I think it was
I
real.
totally give their defense credit. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Brock Purdy being 19 for 27 for
don't-
Yeah, can we do that?
for 314 yards and 4 touchdowns
Can we do
against the defense that you put second to the 2000 Baltimore
Oh, you
Ravens?
know what? I've never said that for 1 minute.
Just saying.
Can we stand Brock Purdy for a second?
You need to fucking
mind?
stop. right
Marcus
now.
Mariota.
You guys make shit up constantly. Fuck you.
I'm just saying. You
I never said
you
that.
said
I don't put
you
words
said
in your
I
mouth.
said that their defense is nowhere near what they were last year. No.
no. What you said was if Brock Purdy, because we asked you, we said if he goes into Philadelphia,
I said if Brock Purdy ever goes into a game and actually has to play from behind and force
he did.
the
were
team
down
to
six.
He
win,
did. They were down
then
6
I
to
give-
nothing.
then I give
They were
credit.
down 6
Yeah,
to
they were down
nothing.
6 nothing.
Guess what?
Whoa.
No. You said if Brock Purdy could go into Philadelphia
we go.
and win the game, you would be willing to give him credit. He did not. He not only went into
He
Philadelphia.
had a great game. He had a great game.
I never thought I'd see the day.
He had a great game. He was incredible.
No.
I'm still shocked.
See why you got to do that? Why you got to? Why you got to?
What?
It's a belittling. It's like the
What?
backhanded.
He had a good game. What do you want me to say,
I
dude?
think- I think
Eh,
it's
everybody
sincere.
forgets he was god awful for the first fucking 5 series. He was awful.
Well,
They didn't even have a fucking first down till a fucking midway through the second quarter.
Was he
What are we
god
talking
awful?
about here?
Was he
the
god
game
awful?
got
He was
away.
good.
The game got away from Philly real quick because Jalen Hurts made some stupid fucking mistakes by dropping back, not doing anything. What are we doing here? Are you listening to me or no?
I'm listening.
What are you doing?
I've been listening to you the whole time.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing there.
Well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay. It's what it is, dude. It's what it is.
What do you mean it is what it is?
It is what
See,
it is.
no,
this is the thing.
Game,
Listen,
This is
they
the thing.
lost. They lost, and I bet you they come back a lot stronger from that.
But
they're
I'll
a team,
bet you.
they're a team that could totally benefit from the loss.
See, you want to know what I fucking
An embarrassing
hate?
loss,
You
too,
wanna
on top of that.
You want to know what I hate? And I despise this about you. The Lions go and lose, and it's sound the alarm. The world is burning. The defense is broken.
The Philadelphia
all this
Eagles
dog
are
shit.
better than the Detroit Lions.
That's great.
In every
See, again,
aspect of the game.
You just you don't focus on what we're actually talking about. You come out of left field with something. The Philadelphia Eagles are better. I'm not arguing that. The point I'm arguing is you think everything's hunky dory after they get blown out by 3 touchdowns.
Whatever, dude. I mean, they gave that shit later in that game away. They were giving them points away when they're going on a 4th down in their own fucking territory, a la Dan Campbell,
And yes,
and they didn't get it.
for the record, Brock
Yeah.
Purdy did indeed pass Jalen Hurts in MVP.
Some sites have
Statistics
Brock Purdy
yesterday.
number 1 right now.
It's Dak, Brock, and Jalen Hurts.
Whatever.
Actually, Dak and Brock.
I want to play a game. I want to dedicate this game to Dark Lumen. I don't know who you are, but I want to dedicate this game to you. Can we?
Said who he is 3 times.
No, he hasn't. Can we play a game right now, real quick? I want you to tell me who leads in this category. Okay, their quarterback stats. Okay, you guys. Bruce, you want to play? You want to join?
Sure.
Okay. Who currently ranks first in the NFL in passer rating? Excuse me. Would you like to go, Sam?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's Brock Purdy,
Uncle Sam?
who had a
Who's number one?
148.8.
Who's number 1 in the
QBR
league in
yesterday.
passer rating right now?
I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
Your guess is Brock Purdy. What's yours, Bruce?
Shit. I want to say Purdy or Tua.
Okay, it's Brock Purdy. Who's number 1 in the league in completion percentage? Bruce,
That's
do you have a guess?
definitely.
Completion?
Completion percentage.
Shit. Goff.
I'm gonna go with God, tough one. Brock Purdy.
Uncle Sam? All right, the answer is Brock Purdy.
I'm just making this fun.
Who's number 1 in TDs to passing attempts? The ratio. Who's number 1 in that?
Which I believe is the most important statistic in the NFL.
Got it.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say it's Brock Purdy.
Who's number 1 in yards per attempt at the moment?
Sean Watson.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say because Deebo Samuel had 116 yards, averaged 30 yards per reception yesterday, and Kittle is averaging 17 yards per reception on the year, and Christian McCaffrey, the running back's averaging 12 yards
This
per
isn't
reception.
much of a game if
I'm
you
gonna
got the
go out on a
stats in front
limb.
of your face.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's Brock Purdy.
I got 2 more. Who's number 1 in yards per completion right now?
Well, I'm going to
Ryan
say that's
Tannehill.
probably Brock Purdy.
It's Brock Purdy, and then number 1 in throws of 20-plus yards. So number 1 in air yards in the league, meaning the ball actually hanging into the air before the receiver catches it and gets more yards afterwards. It is also Brock Purdy.
Joe Theismann.
It is also Brock Purdy. At this point, like when you're doing it against some of the teams that he's doing it against at this point, it can't be like. I'm not going to lie. I think I've liked what I've seen more out of Jalen Hurts. I think I've liked what I've seen a little more out of Dak Prescott than Brock Purdy this year.
Why?
I think what Dak Prescott's done over the last 6 weeks is outstanding.
Okay. Yes, Dak, I'll make the argument. Listen to me. Listen. The Philadelphia thing and the Jalen Hurts thing, all of it is over. I am this Philadelphia team, okay, will probably get the number 1 seed. They will probably have home field advantage through the playoffs. But this team, I'm sorry. If I had to pick right now where I think these teams finish, I think Philadelphia doesn't. I don't think Philadelphia wins a playoff game.
Okay, not only is the 1 seed in question for Philly, but
Because Dallas is on a
Exactly.
good track.
I think you and I at least had them losing to Dallas. at
Yes, I
Dallas.
do.
If they play like I think Philly's better. I still think they're one of the most talented teams in the league. If they play like they did yesterday against Dallas, they are losing in Dallas, which puts them at 3 losses, and then the Niners hold the tiebreak. So the Niners would get the 1 seed at that point.
And Dallas is
And Dallas
Dallas will be
could
tied with them.
hypothetically take the division. I think Dallas would be tied, and they'd have the head-to-head at that point.
Correct.
Because of common opponents.
Niners still have some tough games down the road. So
They do. Niners
Yep.
do. And Philly.
Don't think that they won't lose another one going down.
San
the road.
Francisco will not lose a game the rest of the year.
Okay.
No questions asked.
If San Francisco is prepped and plays like they did yesterday, I have a hard time seeing them lose.
San Francisco, the San Francisco lost the 3 in a row, and it was bad, and they were really out of sorts, and the correction was incredible. And you know something?
The correction was incredible. They were missing guys.
Yeah, again, the correction was incredible.
That's it. You missed McCaffrey.
They put up 42
They missed
on
Trent
Philadelphia.
Williams.
They put up
lost 3 games in a
42 on
row
Philadelphia.
when Trent Williams wasn't in the lineup.
Trent Williams, Debo, and Ayuk were all out
Correct.
in one game. Yeah, I'm with you.
And they righted the ship.
Right.
They put up 42 on Philadelphia.
Right.
That, to me, is the most impressive win in the NFL this year.
Yeah, in Philly.
In Philadelphia.
Is it that impressive? if
Everybody
you
has a bad
think
game.
Dog shit.
What?
Is it really that impressive if you think they're not that good? Their defense is not that good.
Whose defense is not that good?
Phillies.
Well, statistically, if we're going off of the numbers, which I know Uncle Sam doesn't like, but if we're going off of the numbers, Philadelphia still has the best defense in football.
No, they don't.
But what do you
But
think?
the numbers say they do.
The numbers aren't
But
right.
hold on. What do you think?
I think San Francisco's still the best team in football, and I think you're going to have a San Francisco-Miami Super Bowl. And I don't think if Philadelphia has to play Dallas next week, okay, and they drop an extra game in there, because right now, the way that they look, I don't think they're going to win out. I think they're going to drop 2 more games this year. That you have a situation where Dallas wins the division, okay? Jalen Hurts left the game for a little while yesterday. We remember what happened to him at the end of last year when he went down. I'm sorry. Nick Sirianni is too fucking cocky as well. I'm fucking sick of his face.
Hold on,
He's
I won't
cocky,
tolerate that.
He's fucking arrogant. I think he's a piece of shit.
I don't
okay?
tolerate any slander towards Italian Americans.
No, fuck that. Fuck that shit. I'm going against my own kind. So I'm sick of him.
Uncle
I'm
Sam-
fucking sick of him.
Uncle
too.
Sam brought up a really good point. Sometimes a team like Philly could extremely benefit from you.
Now when you have Jalen Carter on the sidelines bawling his fucking eyes out like a little bitch because his fucking feelings were hurt. I'm sorry. The whole thing is going to fall the fuck apart. And I'm going to laugh the entire time.
That's fair, but the counter to if they drop 2 or if the Niners win out, the counter is what if Philly wins out? What if
Philly's not winning out? They're not winning out.
They could anything could happen.
That was a demoralizing game for them. The amount of everybody forgets the amount of shit that has been talked between these two teams on socials, on the field last year, after the game last year, all the above has been second to the Jets Denver thing. That just kind of went under the wayside. Like that game meant a lot to both of those teams. And I think Philadelphia's
The
true
NFL
colors came out.
And I'm not saying this to say spite anybody, but the NFL before that game was just throating the 49ers.
Well, deservedly fucking so, eh?
Fucking
Deservedly so.
like they fucking knew it was gonna happen.
Deservedly so. Because Philadelphia is
gotta give
shit
the other team
compared to
credit, man.
last year.
Bullshit.
Give what other team credit?
Just talking about the pregame bullshit, all these talking heads on TV.
Yes, but you have to understand something, okay? When there's a narrative, and it wasn't even close.
It wasn't close.
It wasn't close. So maybe they were right. Maybe it wasn't just the talking heads. Maybe they were fucking right.
It wasn't close, but then I'm with Uncle Sam. The Niners still have they both still have gauntlet schedules, and they both have a lot to look to right now. And I think at this point they're both going to be racing towards 1 seed, and we'll see what happens from there. But it's eye opening. I agree with you. It's the best win of the year. I find it hard to find a team that's better than San Francisco at the moment. I'd love to see a rematch between San Francisco and Dallas. I think that would be a hell of a lot of fun. But there's still a lot to go. I'm not saying you're overreacting because Philly could totally choke and shit the bed in Dallas next week, but the Niners could do the same. The Niners have not just as hard, but they have a hard schedule as well, and they have some divisional games left, and I think it could go both ways. But at a minimum, I thought Philly was the better team, and the door is just wide open. The NFC right now, it's wide open for the two of these teams, but I think it's going to be an interesting. I'm looking forward.
49ers got to watch out for the Rams.
They play the Ravens too. The Niners play the Ravens on Christmas.
They got to watch out for the
Rams.
The Niners have a tough schedule, but honestly, so Philly still has 2 games left in this stretch where they could totally take a shit too. So, we will see.
Better watch out for the Rams.
Yep. Matt Stafford.
That's the poop take. Next up, our last game of the week. The Detroit Lions headed to the Superdome to play the Saints.
Played one good quarter of football.
Saints had a lot riding on this one, but unfortunately, due to them not knowing what the fuck is going on offense and just not being able to hold it together, they lose one that they had in their grasps. Detroit comes out on top 33-28. After Detroit put up 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, the offense went pretty stagnant. Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, and Taysom Hill all played quarterback for the Saints yesterday in a kind of a bizarre offensive play calling situation. Taysom Hill led the team in rushing. He was 13 for 59 for a touchdown. Alvin Kamara, 14 for 51 and 2 touchdowns. Through the air, Carr was 17 for 22 for 226 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Jameis Winston completed 5 passes for 41 yards. Taysom Hill did not complete a pass in this game. Chris Olave, 5 for 119. Alvin Kamara, 6 for 58 through the air. Jared Goff, 16 for 25, 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs was 8 for 60. David Montgomery, 18 for 56 and a touchdown. Jameson Williams had a 19-yard touchdown run. And Sam Laporta, monster game out of him, 9 for 140 and a touchdown. Amon-Ra also caught a touchdown as well. Zolo, you got 5 things or what?
I sure do.
Go ahead.
Thing number 1 is that effort still wasn't good enough, and it's going to cost you a lot of games. There's more losses in the docket, but even though that effort wasn't good enough, there was still a lot to build on yesterday, and I'm going to get right into it. For a quarter, they were good, and they had everything that we wanted them to have. The DBs were swatting balls. There was a pass rush with Bruce Irvin. They were getting home. The offense was moving the ball flawlessly. They had a 3rd and 8 the first series of the game, and they went out and got it on the ground. They had their way with that team. What changed a lot, obviously, Ragnow going down didn't help. But you can't. I'm with Uncle Sam. You can't make excuses for the offensive line as much anymore because you need to be able to prep. If your offensive line is as deep as we think it is, you need to be able to prep in game to figure that out. When you lose an offensive lineman in game, you can't let everything go to shit anymore. And that's what happened in every one of these games where one of the linemen have left. Now, here's the good news. Colby Sorsdahl, he had his best game yesterday. Has he been good this year? No, but he's been building and building and building and getting better, and he had his best game. You move Graham Glasgow into the inside. You have a line you can work with. Jonah Jackson feels good today. You're probably going to get back-to-back games with Jonah Jackson for the first time since September. So things are trending up in that direction. You had a little bit of a pass rush with Bruce Irvin. Figure that out. Whatever you were doing right, figure that out. I'll tell you one thing they certainly did right in that regard. His name is Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell was drafted to be an off-ball linebacker. He was drafted to be the Mike. Jack Campbell got to play the Mike yesterday, and he was extremely effective. He was everywhere. He was in on every play. So that is what they've needed in the back, in the middle, is Jack Campbell. Okay? That's a start. You need to build on all these things for your defense to get better. Okay? And I'm not just talking about to win a playoff game. If you want to win your division, you need to win at least 2 games to win the division, and then you need a whole bunch of other stuff to happen. So if you want to win your division, you need to figure it out defensively just to win 2 of your next 5, because that effort yesterday will not win them more than 2 of their next 5. They got lucky. Go ahead.
I don't even know what to say right now. Just I don't know. I mean, Campbell called actually a good game. He didn't take any stupid, unnecessary risk.
How'd you feel about Jack Campbell?
I thought he was okay. I'm still not seeing what he was doing in college at this level. I'm not seeing it. He's still not a downhill thumper. A guy like Roquan Smith, he's not that. I wish he was that would play downhill. I don't like linebackers making plays from behind. It's ridiculous. And a lot of that's got to do with that interior defense. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know where Isaiah Buggs is. Don't know the story on him. But
MIA.
I'm sorry?
MIA.
Yeah. And this is what, 3 weeks now? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? We haven't seen this guy. They brought him back for a fucking reason.
He was supposed to play
You know?
Thanksgiving, but then
They were getting gashed yesterday. They were getting gashed once again by the run, by Alvin Kamara. He was gashing them. And I don't like it. I don't like anything they're doing defensively. I mean, they're doing just enough to stay in it.
I mean, Kamara only had 50 yards.
He
We'll
was,
get it. What
he
is-
was
what's his
gashing
receiving-
him,
what's
dude.
his receiving
Taysom Hill was gashing him,
58.
too.
Taysom Hill was destroying them yesterday.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill, you said Taysom Hill didn't complete a pass. He did more damage than any player under center in history without completing a pass yesterday.
Yeah.
Because he was also.
Well,
gashing.
I don't know if anybody was looking at what I was looking at, but let me tell you something right now. That interior defense has the biggest gaping hole that's still there from last year.
Aleem is going to be out on Sunday too. Aleem McNeil is.
He's out this Sunday coming? Yeah, that's nice.
Well, so Isaiah Bugs, the healthy scratch thing, supposedly it's still just a work ethic issue for him.
He's been
I don't I'm going to be honest with you. From what I seen out of him last year to this year, I don't know what these guys are talking about, a work issue. Then why is he still on the fucking team?
And that's applicable to a few guys too. That the last year versus this year's John Comiskey's been absent. There's just nothing. And Hutchinson probably had one of his worst games yesterday. He's still grading out high.
I mean, this is what he is, dude.
It's not just what he is.
It's what he is. What you seen yesterday out of him is what he is.
He was
going up against a good tackle.
He was the highest graded player on their defense yesterday, and he
I
had
don't
one
know
of his
how that
worst
is.
games because he's still,
I don't think he was the
because
highest
he's
rated
still
player
one
on
of the best
defense.
pass rushers in the league, and they have to scheme for him
not.
and double team him.
That's-
If there's 4 guys in front of you and you have 5 guys to block and you throw 2 on 1 and the other 3 guys aren't doing shit, you're gonna block the one guy every time. I'm sorry.
To me, you brought in a, what is he, 38-year-old defensive end that's putting on more pressure than your fucking kid that you just fucking
His
drafted.
sack, Bruce Irvin's sack, was a direct result of the pressure of Aiden Hutchinson. If you want to if you want to pull that play up,
Dude, he swung on the inside. He's on the opposite side. It had nothing to do with it.
yeah, the pocket
Had nothing to
converges
do
like
with
this.
that.
It's the pocket.
It had nothing to do with that.
You want to pull up the play?
Go ahead, pull it up.
Because it 100%.
I'll even show you it had nothing to do with that.
It's Hutchinson
Aiden
getting
Hutchinson's
double
on the
teamed.
other side of the field.
That's how pass rushes work. The pocket closes
Stop.
like
He
this.
shot through the middle. They had a
Bruce
stunt
Irvin was
between him and the tackle.
Bruce Irvin was on the right side when
Correct.
it happened.
They had a stunt between him and the tackle.
The pocket was going like this, and Hutchinson was
came up
about
the
to
middle.
get to the quarterback. And regardless of where he came
Correct.
from, the quarterback
Regardless
was
of where
in
he
position.
came from, it had nothing to do with Aiden Hutchinson.
The quarterback was in
You
position
need
to get
fucking
hit
stop.
because of where Aiden Hutchinson
didn't do
had
shit
him.
yesterday. He didn't do a fucking thing yesterday.
I'm not
He was
gonna argue.
garbage yesterday.
I'm not
He didn't
gonna
get any
argue.
pressures. He was junk.
He led the team in pressures.
Oh God.
He led the team in hurries.
pressures. Pressures.
You just said
Hey, listen,
Fuck.
listen,
He couldn't get home.
listen to me.
He can't get home.
You've got to remember this. You've got to remember this for Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam wanted nothing more than Kayvon Thibodeau to end up here. So the Aiden Hutchinson will always be a disappointment.
No, Kayvon Thibodeau's good. He's not
Aiden Hutchinson will be a
He's
disappointment
better
no
than
matter
Aiden
what.
Hutchinson is.
He's going to die on the same sword with Aiden Hutchinson that he is on Brock Purdy. So you've just got to let it go.
I'll let it go.
There'll never be credit. He will never be good enough, and he will never be
Oh,
Kayvon.
Unless
Thibodeau.
it's for entertainment
you
purposes,
say
I'll let
that
it go.
right now. I gave him credit fucking 2 weeks ago when I said that's the best play he's made all year.
Yes, you gave
when
him
he
credit.
had the fucking sack on
Hey.
Justin Fields
Hey.
at the end of the
Hey.
game to seal the game.
You've given him credit on
seal
one
the
play
game.
all year.
To seal the game.
You've given him credit on one play all year.
Great defensive players seal games. Lawrence Taylor used to seal games.
I'm sure
He
if
would
you,
take over games by himself.
I'm sure if you pulled
Double team, triple team.
I'm sure if you pulled the other 31 teams, if you pulled their GM, their coach, their fan bases, whatever, and they could pick one player on the Lions that they would
Let
like
me
as
ask
their
you a
team,
question. Let me ask
It
you a
would be
question.
Aiden
I want you to
Hutchinson.
answer me fucking honestly.
It's one of those two.
Who do you think is the best defensive end in football? That outside linebacker, defensive end.
Can we consider Micah Parsons a defensive end?
Not linebackers, defensive ends.
I see Micah Parsons on the end and
Well,
standing up more.
Micah Parsons like a hybrid.
Uh,
Defensive end.
can I say T.J. Watt?
He's an outside linebacker.
But
Once again, defensive end.
But they spend their time at the end of the end of the line. That's where their production comes from.
Well, T.J. Watt is playing outside the tackle. Okay, he's an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Defensive ends.
Okay.
Max Crosby.
Who are you alluding to?
Miles Garrett.
Who did
Okay,
you want?
Max
me to,
Crosby
who did you want
is
me
the
to
best
say?
defense.
I'll say
Max
Max Crosby. I'll say
Miles
Max Crosby.
Garrett.
Okay. Yeah.
Who
both
did you
of
want
those
me to
two.
say? I'll say.
Who do you think is the best defensive end in the
I'd
league?
say
Max
if
Crosby.
I don't
Right
consider
now.
Miles Garrett an end, but if
What do you
are,
consider him?
I think he plays more on the interior, just how you want to argue the
He's not. He's
linebacker
an
thing.
outside. He's a fucking defensive end.
Stop. We're gonna say Miles Garrett's the best pass rusher in the NFL, the best defensive end in the NFL. I'm gonna say it's Miles Garrett.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. T.J. Watt is an outside linebacker.
Okay, where
Mecca
were you
Parsons
going?
is a hybrid linebacker.
Where were you going with it though? What were you gonna
Where
say?
am I going with it?
Yeah.
Well, do you think Aiden Hutchinson is even close to him?
Miles Garrett was an all-world
I'm
talent
just
and one of
asking
the
you a
a
question.
number one overall
Do you?
pick.
Okay.
At the moment,
Aiden Hutchinson was a number 2 overall pick. Would you even put him in the category of a Miles Garrett?
no, because you just named
Or
literally
a
an
Max
all-world.
Crosby, who was drafted well below him.
Yeah, but Max Crosby is in year 4. If we
Okay.
want to compare year 1 and 2 numbers
Okay.
of Aiden Hutchinson and
Well,
Max Crosby,
I'm not going
you
by
will
analytics.
lose.
I'm
That's
go-
not analytics.
You
That's
go
the
by
stats.
what you see.
That's the stats. That's the sacks and the
Well,
hurries
what
and
are you
the
going to tell me
pressures.
about his fucking 10 sacks?
And then if you want to
his
get
rookie
really
year?
fun, we could do the interceptions and we could do all that in his
let's
coverage
just,
grade.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Like you'll still
But
lose.
there's 3
You'll still lose
interceptions?
that. If
We
we're
still living
comparing-
on that 3
if we're
interception
comparing
shit?
year
Hold
1 and
on.
2, Aiden
Hold
Hutchinson.
on.
Guess
year
what?
1
They
and 2,
missed the
Max Crosby.
playoffs. 3 interceptions didn't make the playoffs.
Hey, hold on. Okay. If we could,
I just want to get to the 5 things.
do you think Aiden Hutchinson's a better player right now than Hassan Reddick?
Yes.
Brian Burns,
No.
Yes.
Matt Judon,
Yes.
No.
Alex Highsmith,
Yes.
I don't know. Highsmith's linebacker. Go ahead.
Danielle Hunter.
Right now,
No, I
Danielle
think
Hunter,
Hunter's
no.
better. Hunter's a seasoned vet. You
I mean,
can't.
you want to talk?
You just did the season
Hold
vet
on,
thing with the
hold
other
on.
players.
Hold on a minute. No, I didn't. Miles Garrett's fucking 25 years old, dude. Come on.
Nick Bosa,
What about him?
Aiden Hutchinson, or Nick Bosa?
Nick Bosa for sure.
Yes, but
Yeah,
see,
Bosa's an
Aiden
animal.
Hutchinson's statistics this year.
I'm not
Far
going by
sur-
stats.
Miles Garrett's
Yes, but
27.
you can't make the argument that you can't go by stats.
Miles
I
Garrett's
don't right now,
27 and
Aiden
been in the
Hutchinson
league for
has
8
more
years.
sacks, more hurries, more pressures, more tackles than Nick Bosa right now. More
Yeah,
everything.
that's
Nick
the point.
Bosa's not having a good year.
You can't just say that though. You
He's
can't
not,
just pick.
though.
You can't cherry
But
pick
guess
stats.
what? You have to account for Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa's going to
like-
get double teamed on every fucking play.
Can we go to the second thing?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, here we go.
This I'm gonna get killed for the second thing. The second thing is the offensive line. Like I mentioned, the offensive line seems to struggle when they lose a guy. It's no longer an excuse. I thought Ben Johnson had a very poor game yesterday, and he's very bad at adjusting in game when they lose offensive linemen. And if they want to win, that is the lifeblood of their team, is the running game, and they need to figure it out. If it's putting Malcolm Rodriguez in there to clear a lane as a fullback, if it's quick slants or whatever, if it's going jumbo on the left side, they really need to figure out that run game if they want to win games going forward.
Do you have a counter to that?
No.
Okay.
It gets more positive going forward. Thing number 3 is I thought Jared Goff bounced back very nicely yesterday, and I thought he was the reason. If I could point to one reason they won outside of Sam Laporta, it was Jared Goff. It was most prevalent on that last drive.
Up in the pocket.
He is stepping up in the pocket. He willed that
Not
pass.
turning the ball over.
Not turning the ball over 100%. And if this is the Goff you're going to get, you're going to be back in these games.
Are we going to argue that one or no?
What?
I don't know. I'm just checking. I'm checking in.
Argue what?
Do we like Jared Goff yesterday?
Yeah, he didn't turn the ball over.
Thing number 4 is very easy. It's Sam LaFucking-Porta.
Rookie of the year, baby.
He's doing things
He's the best tight end in football.
he's the best tight end in football, and you could throw the blocking in there too because he has monster blocks on almost all of their touchdowns.
Yep.
He's doing insane things and doing things that we've certainly never seen it for a rookie, but for the position, he has a chance to be the Kittle or the Kelsey in year 1. That's what he's doing right
Yep.
now. And that's your best player on your offense. It's not even St. Brown. It's George Kittle, or excuse me, it's Sam Laporta. And if this is what you're getting in Sam Laporta, hell, they got a hell of a draft pick there.
Yeah, they did.
They got a hell of a draft pick. And that's coming off a game where all 4 of their top 4 picks yesterday just popped the fuck off. Sam Laporta is very special, and we need to cherish this guy because he's going to be a very special player in this town for a very long time. Thing number 5, because we're at 2 hours almost. Lions are 9-3, and we're disappointed after a loss right now. It shows you where this franchise is. It shows you the temperature of the franchise. We're pissed off after a loss when they're going to get into the playoffs for the first time in X amount of years. They have a very good shot to win the division for the first time in X amount of years. And we're complaining after loss. We're complaining after losses. We've been waiting for this team to play meaningful games in December for a very long time, and they're playing meaningful games in December. So am I pissed? Yeah. I thought that was horrible yesterday. I thought that was a horrible performance. Coming off of a horrible performance, I thought they've been bad out of the bye. I think they have a lot of work to do. That being said, they're 9-3 for the first time since 1962. I wasn't alive then. They have a shot to win this division for the first time in my lifetime. You know, what more can you say? Someone in a group chat of mine earlier today brought up a really good point. Let's just enjoy it. Let's take what it is as it comes. You take it one game at a time. Am I nervous about all these games? Of course. I'm nervous about them going into Chicago and trying to win on Sunday. You know, if you perform like you did on yesterday in Chicago, you're probably losing. But we're going to take this. You know, the Lions are 9-3. We've never been able to say that before in my lifetime. So we're going to take this and we're going to roll with it. And you just enjoy the ride as it comes. We'll take it as it comes and we'll go from there.
Any counter? What were your thoughts on the game overall yesterday? Not arguing about Aiden Hutchinson. What were your thoughts on the game overall?
I think if Derek Carr hadn't have got hurt, they would have lost that game.
The turnovers as well. If they hadn't turned the ball over,
Yeah.
they probably would have lost.
I truly think if Derek Carr was still in that game, they would have won that game.
See, I don't believe that.
Jameis,
They had a little bit of momentum
Jameis kind of
going.
had him going. I don't disagree with you,
They
but
had some
Jameis
momentum
still
going.
Jameis maintained the momentum.
Yeah.
The Lions they made a play when they needed to at the end.
Yeah,
They went
they did.
3 quarters without doing it, but they made the play at the end of the game. And
I have another question for you. If you're Dennis Allen, are you considering changing up?
I don't know
Derek
what
Carr
he's
going
doing.
forward.
I
you just give
personally don't
Winston the
like what
reins?
he's doing.
And then do the Winston, give Winston the reins and do the Winston fucking, what's his name? I'm having a moment here.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill.
Can Taysom Hill throw passes?
I don't know. He was over 2 passes.
Because I know it was the Lions and they were getting gashed like crazy yesterday.
Taysom Hill had his stint as a starter before they
bad.
had Derek Carr, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, he was poop.
Okay, he was very.
Yeah, but
It was
whatever he's
Tim
doing
Tebow.
now works.
It was Tim Tebow-ish.
if you're gonna use him in the fucky offense, do you just put
Well, if
Winston
you're
in
gonna
there
run
and
the
let him
fucky
go?
offense and run the fucky offense,
Yeah,
and just tell Derek Carr, you know what,
Hey,
Derek?
sit the fuck
Here,
down.
wear the headset. You can be a coach.
Yeah,
I think we're
Okay.
we're trending towards that.
I think we are.
Yeah,
too.
but I don't. Carr's still playing at a high
fans
level
hate
when he's
him.
in there, though.
the fans.
They were literally
Hey.
booing when he would come back on the field and
you know
Taysom
what?
Hill would come off.
If you're going to sit there and listen to every fan, because obviously they don't listen to the fans here in Detroit, but if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to let the fans dictate what you're going to do on the field, listen, they're lost. How many fucking weeks has it been since we said these guys don't have an identity?
Alvin
They
Kamara said
don't
it
know
too.
what they're doing. They don't have an identity.
Alvin Kamara literally said those words this past weekend.
Well, look at it. I mean, you bring Carr in. Carr starts to get warmed up, making some plays downfield, and then you're going to bring Taysom Hill in and let him run fucking 3 or 4 plays.
But it works, though.
And then I understand that in certain situations, but when you got Carr sitting on the fucking sidelines 3 or 4 plays, he's out of rhythm.
100%. And you're
So then you
losing.
got to come back in.
There's
try
no
to
way.
get
There's
his
no
rhythm
way
back.
to get any momentum built up the way that they're running it right now.
Correct. Because you know why? Because when Carr starts to get in a rhythm, you take him out inside the fucking red zone to put Taysom Hill and his little run packages in. What the fuck are we doing here? This guy's an idiot. He's the reason why this team keeps losing these games. They should have won that game yesterday. They had all the momentum in the world from the second fucking quarter on.
I think the turnover where Carr threw the ball into the guard's leg on the handoff, it was a total freak play and an accident. I think that's what killed them.
The fucking guard ran into him,
guard
dude,
ran into him. The guard,
on a pole.
The guard was pulling, and
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't his fault. You can't blame him.
No,
for that.
no, I'm not blaming anybody. I think that was that's I agree. That turnover in particular, which was it gave the Lions the ball, and it wasn't good.
Okay, before we end today's show, we have two things that we have to do real quick. Thing number one, the Heisman finalists were just announced. They are Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Bo Nix, and Michael Penix. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe was left out of the finalists pool.
Okay.
I think that's dumb, but those are the four best. I think those are the four best players.
I mean, that award usually goes to a quarterback.
If you had a vote, who are you casting your votes for?
I can't deny out of those guys, the one I had the most fun watching was Michael Penix.
That's what I think should.
But I cannot deny Bo Nix or Jaden Daniels' actual statistics. And again, we talked about before, no quarterback that's accounted for 50 touchdowns has ever lost the Heisman. So I think it's his to lose.
I just think that statistic is stupid. I think it's about wins, and I never did understand why they choose the Heisman before the fucking national championship game. To me, that's absurd.
I agree with that.
I think they should do it after the national championship game. I don't know why they do that every year before it, because now if you get a guy like, let's say McCarthy comes in and absolutely lights it up, and the guy's what, 6 or 7 down the fucking roster there, down the line, and he wins a national championship, you don't think he deserves it?
And the counter is this motivates teams. Like Vince Young lost to Reggie Bush in 2005. It was Bush, Leinart, and Young, and Vince Young probably saw that and was like, bet. And another good example.
And I single-handedly watched Vince Young destroy USC, destroy Michigan. He was a very good football player. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're going to pick a guy to be the best football player in the country,
you want the whole body of work.
You want the whole body of work. I never understood why they choose that award before the national championship.
Okay, and our last thing before we end today's show. Tonight we have a Monday Night Football matchup between Cincinnati and Jacksonville at Everbank Stadium in Duval County. Jacksonville 8-3, first in the AFC South, and need to keep winning to stay in front of Indy and Houston. Cincinnati at 5-6, they're burrowless. They're at the bottom of the AFC North, and in all reality, I don't think they have too much to play for at this point. Going into this one, Jacksonville is a 10-point favorite. The over-under is 41. Uncle Sam, make your pick.
I'm going to take Jacksonville in the over.
Zolo.
Jacksonville, the over, and I like Jacksonville to cover, actually. If Jacksonville's as good as they've been the last 3 weeks, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they have been, I think they have no problems today.
Bruce?
Jacksonville in the over.
I'm going to take Jacksonville, and I'm going to take the under in this game. I don't think you're going to have a lot of points. For some reason, Cincinnati hasn't utilized Mixon since Burrow's been out either. I don't understand why, but
they got
not.
T. Higgins back tonight.
They have T. Higgins back. I think that the Browning kid has a lot of work to do. I think Jacksonville's defense needs to make a little bit of a point for themselves tonight, and I think they do that. I think it's going to be a turnover-ridden game for Cincinnati, and I think this is where we start to see Cincinnati shut it down because, I mean, if they get beat tonight, you're going to be a 5-7 football team with the rest of the division 3 games ahead of you, and at that point, I think the season's over. So I'm taking Jacksonville to cover, but I think I like the under because I just don't think Cincinnati is going to manufacture points unless they really, really start to use Joe Mixon. Other than that, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Zolo?
I want to talk about the playoff clinching scenarios on Wednesday. We ran out of time today.
We'll save that for Wednesday, 100%. Bruce? That was stupid. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure to check us out on YouTube. Remember to click subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when we go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 4:30 and 5. Thank you so much for listening. Bruce will be working tomorrow. We will see you again on Wednesday.